Except all of a sudden it's not working. Yay, there it goes. You'll be fine. So don't tell anybody that you get 10 minutes of extra time with me. I'm awesome, I know. Except for things. Adjusting. So pre-question for your show as a warm-up, would you recommend a 9mm 124 grain jacketed hollow point or a 45 and 185 grain jacketed hollow point for defense? Depends on what kind of area you live in and what you're trying to defend against. If you're talking about just person-to-person defense, I would actually go with the 124 grain or even 147 grain, because 185 grain jacketed hollow point or a semi-wad cutter, whatever you wind up going with, is going to be booking. You're going to be actually going faster than that 147 or 124 grain. Well, the 124 grain is still supersonic, but I would say that you would actually have more chance of over penetration with the 185 grain jacketed hollow point than you would with the 124. So that would be my personal choice. So I'm going to make this bigger so that I don't have to look so far off screen, even though I'm Asian and I can see all the way around my own head. Yeah. Oh, I just pulled my own computer out. Sorry. I've been having problems with my internet, so forgive me if I lean forward and do stuff. Ray French, hey, what's going on? Zadeed, hello. You typed your own name. That's cool. But yeah, like I said, we'll officially get going in about 10 minutes, but this is just kind of me just sitting here playing around, making sure that I'm sitting in a good position, that you can't see my crotch, and that none of my firearms are on screen. Actually, you can show firearms on screen. You just can't demonstrate or hold them on a stream. So, but yeah, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 that I have to film tonight after I'm done with all this fun stuff. Also, let me know what the audio's like. Yeah, okay. I think you're fine. So, Sergio, Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you. Sergio, where are you located? Have you already had your New Year? Thank you, Ray. Appreciate it. Yeah, I pop on the headphones from time to time just to make sure. Look at that. We already got some people in here. That's what I like to see. Yeah, we'll do some official stuff in Las Vegas. Yeah, so you're still, it's only what, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock there? So you still got some time yet. Paul, New Year's Eve. All of them. Yes, I agree. All of them. Let me see, there was something I was going to talk about today, for sure. Oh yeah, US. I'll be talking about USCCA. I know, actually, I've lost subscribers due to live streams because I actually take stands on stuff, but I will be talking about that case that TFB talked about with USCCA. So we'll be talking about them. Let's just say that I believe US Law Shield is better. And we'll start and leave it there for now. Texas, Ray. So it's about 5 o'clock where you are. That's cool. Was that an SL8? No, well, is that the designation for it? It's the Daewoo South Korean battle rifle. So it might actually be. Oh, okay. So it looks like the HK SL8. No, it's the Daewoo South Korean battle rifle chambered in .223 or 5.56. One of those. I borrowed it from the store. Never been fired, so I'll be doing a video on that. Also got the Echelon sitting over there, my new FX9 with a Holosun, which I've decided not to keep because reasons. We'll talk about that. And then my Gerson 2311. Ray, that's why I have now. Yeah. Also, here's the other thing. If USCCA goes to court with you and you lose, you're responsible for for all the fees. You have to pay their lawyers for the time they spent trying to defend you, even if you lose, which is something they don't tell you in your briefing. So If you happen to lose, you're screwed. Ultra. What is that off of? A little sticker on my desk that says Ultra. I don't remember what it came from. Ultra. What do I have in screw? Oh, it's from my phone. It's from my Schnam Snug. The one I'm filming on that I couldn't find for a minute. Red is not a flattering color when you sit backwards. Here. I have my leg propped up because it's been bothering me the last few days, and I got to help my buddy at his store. So, getcha. Couple more minutes, then we'll actually talk about things. I mean, feel free to load up some questions there. We'll check them out as soon as we get going. All these people that popped in. I wonder if he's going to talk about anything particular. No. Also, forgive my eyes if they're bloodshot. I tried to lay down before I decided to stream, but I'm not good at that. Pull you up a little bit. South Florida checking in. Well, welcome, South Florida. Glad to have you here. You mean this one? This one with the bootleg copy of James Bond? I don't know if it's going to boot up with this one. It's glitched. Alright, sorry. I know who that is. The one that wants to talk about the Pokemon thingy. That would be Chris. How you doing, Chris? You barely made it. South Florida barely made it to 70 degrees. You know, I used to live in Killeen, Texas, which is where Fort Hood is, and we used to have that problem there, where during the winter, if it got up to 70, it was like a freezing day. My locker at school, I got in trouble because when we left, I actually had to have my mom come to school to pick up all my winter coats because I used to ride my bike because I got kicked off for other reasons. But yeah, I used to ride my bike to school every day, and it was a pain in the ass. So let's see, whether it be essay, single action only, I guess, I don't know. If you ever handle one or hear stuff about them, what's your thoughts? Just a question for later. I'll look it up because I've probably messed with the firearm, but I don't think I've ever actually done anything with it. I guess I'm 18. I've been used as a paddle. I mean, it looks just kind of like a 930 tactical, but longer. Whoa. Dave, was the rust building up on your slide release on the SBO? No. I haven't edited that video yet. I took it to the range for a first shots, and I threw it, and that's why it looks like it's got stuff on it. It's actually mud from the range. And yeah, I'm trying to make this taller. I don't know why. It looks like it dropped down. It's a cheap Amazon Basics tripod because I can't find the base for my other good tripod. So yeah, let's do that. Yeah, best filmer ever. Best filmer ever. But yeah, it was just mud on the slide because in the video, when I finally put it out, I literally just huck it. We broke 40 degrees here, and you had to take off your coat. Where are you, Damien? I'm in Northern Virginia. We hit 47 or 48 here. I'm enjoying the weather. It's not going to last. Here, March, February into March is always our worst months. What are the chances of the SPO1 rusting? Sorry, Trying not to keep hitting that, but you know, you put a chair or an ottoman down and the leg of it keeps on hitting your tripod. That's first world problems. But what are the chances, Wyoming? Oh, cool. What are the chances of the SP01 rusting since it's a full steel sliding frame? If you damage the coating, that's when you get the most chances. Now, I don't know if you saw the video where I did the teardown of the SP01, but the previous owner sanded off all the finish internally to make the rails really smooth. I do the same thing. So if he did it, that's fine. But by doing that, you do also increase the chance that you could get some rust. If it gets corrosion inside, if you let like salt or any kind of corrosive acid sit on the metal, then it would rust. But as long as your coating is intact, you're usually fine. Just wipe it down. Oh, you're right in PA. Nice, Dakota. Ted underscore with a black avatar. How you doing, Ted? Do you like Beretta pistols? If so, what would be your favorite? I sold to one of my good friends who's a really, really like enthusiastic Beretta collector. I had the 80-2, which was when, or excuse me, the 90-2 was when Beretta tried to remake the Beretta FS92 into like a more modern 2006 looking gun, kind of like a PX4, so it had different lines and cuts on the body. That one was one of my favorite ones. And then I just like a solid Beretta 92, just straight up. I actually prefer the frame mounted safeties on like the XI and the Performance, but I like all the Berettas. Had a 96 for a little while, and I had a PX4 Storm that I was using for a little while. And between those, I still think I prefer the 92 over the PX4, but the PX4 is pretty novel with its rotating barrel. All right, so we're at 7 o'clock. I've answered a few questions really quick. As we get into this, I cannot show firearms on a live stream. I'm going to say it at the beginning of every live stream. I showed a few sitting on a couch across the room. I can't pick them up. You can't handle firearms in a live stream. You can't demonstrate firearms in a live stream. If I decide to switch to a camera and do screen like on a real live streamer, then I could put it up on the monitor. But for now, I just cannot pick up, demonstrate, or modify a firearm on a live stream. So keep that in mind. But you can ask me any questions you want. Ray used to live near Poconos area in Jersey. I was at the Poconos a long time ago, to the racetrack, back when Davey Allison and Bobby Allison were all still alive. Dave FX, would you say alloy frame is better against rust since it's alloy? The Beretta Inox can still rust, which defeats the purpose of being stainless. There's a trade-off to having an alloy frame, and that is overall longevity of the firearm. For an example, all those aluminum 1911s you see, take a look at where the slide lock goes through the frame, where the slide lock goes through the side of the frame, and you'll see that a lot of those have stress on them, and some of them even crack. In fact, Kimber on all their lightweight series files that open, so that actually that spot in the frame is open because the alloy can't handle as much pressure for the long term. So keep that in mind. Go back to that one for Dakota. The Weatherby, the action, the shotgun, the SA08, it's cool. It's out of production. I never got my hands on one. It kind of looks like a 930 tactical to me, or yeah, more like a 930, but obviously it doesn't have a pistol grip. It has a regular shotgun stock, but it looks like an interesting gun. I wouldn't mind shooting one. All right. Let me go. Let's see. No, I did not see that question, Ray, on the 1911. I carry 230 grain jacketed hollow point, usually something in the Hornady line. I just prefer just a solid 230 grain ball because it's a standard velocity. Weight is normal. It's just what I carry. Hornady mostly, but I have been known to carry Federal from time to time, but mostly Hornady. Damien, what is your opinion on cowboy guns? i.e., single action revolvers, lever actions, top breaks for practical use. I know a lot of people that actually carry revolvers. Most of my friends that carry revolvers tend to carry newer style ones, like a buddy of mine carries the GP 100s, and another one of mine carries a Colt Python. Those are pretty darn solid for a backup gun, which is what they both use them for. They carry a semi-auto and then a revolver for a backup gun. Lever actions are fun. Lever actions can be very practical. I've got my grandfather's old 1894, the 3030, and 3030 has probably taken more larger game. Obviously, people will argue about what's killed more, 22 and blah blah blah, but more large game like deer than any other cartridge, and it's super accurate and super easy to use. I feel it's actually easier than a bolt gun because you can actually just run the, holding the thing solid, you just run the lever versus a bolt. In terms of top brakes, I've never run a top brake for any sort of time. We had one at the store, a Weatherby, but yeah, what is that? The Mark or the 455? Was that a Weatherby? It was a Webley, excuse me, a Webley 455. I played with one of those, but I've never actually run one for a daily. I really wouldn't run an old top brake unless it's a new manufacturer top brake. DB, I've cleaned up a lot of my collection in the last 9 months. Got rid of stuff I didn't use. Grabbed a few Grail firearms. Going to try to grab one pistol for this year, a high-end 1911. Well, you're going to be spoiled for choice. Atlas Gunworks, Athena, Atlas Athena, I can't remember. There's so many of them. There's a lot of high-end gun manufacturers right now that are producing really nice stuff. The high-end part of the market is not been affected by any of what's going on, either COVID or otherwise. In fact, down at Liberty, where I'll be working tomorrow, at Liberty, like they had a Barrett 416 and a Barrett 50 cal come in and sell within 2 weeks. So $13,000 Barrett M82 just gone, just like the same day. So it's pretty impressive that there's that much money still out there. So it's time for you to get a Marlin 1895 made by Ruger and hunt some local dinosaurs. What year? Because I have some problems. Excuse me, not year, but why the Ruger? Because we've had a few come in. Some of them came in before we closed, before I quit the other store. They seemed like they needed some work. I wouldn't mind one of the all weathers, but they're like $1,600 to $1,800. DB says ball ammo for sure in a 1911. Why? Just curious. Why do you say that? Is that your personal choice, or do you live in a state where you can't carry hollow points? Hi, Garrett. Happy New Year to you as well. Let's see. Dave says Ruger Mark IV Target versus Browning Buckmark. Again, depending on what you're using it for. If you're using it for range use, the Buckmark has a really, really, really nice trigger, and I think it's slightly more accurate out of the box than the Ruger Mark IV. If you're looking for ease of use, I find the Ruger Mark IV to be an easier gun to shoot, personally. And you just said target, so you're not talking about the light, so you're talking about the one with the traditional Ruger frame, I'm assuming. I would probably go with that because there's going to be more aftermarket for it as well. The Browning Buckmark, it's a great gun, but they don't have as much backing in the third party, in the aftermarket, as the Ruger does. So you just got to take that, and how you feel with your decision is how you feel about it. I'm waiting for the replay to come up because I have a delay here, and whatever I just said didn't make any sense. But you know what I mean. Whichever one you feel better with would be the better gun to run with. High-end 1911, a TSOS 1911 for $400 is just as fine, probably. There's a difference in what he's talking about, I believe. What DB's talking about is anybody can go out and buy a TSOS, anybody can buy a Rock Island, and they're fine. They're good guns. They'll run the course. But you want some guns that just are talking points and not your standard fare, and I totally get that. I've had quite a few of them myself, but I've also sold a lot of them. I don't keep a lot of guns very long. I keep a lot of guns, but I don't. There's most of the stuff you see rotate through the channel is stuff that I buy just for the videos, shoot a little bit, and then get rid of. A lot of times I don't even shoot range videos because I don't do 1,000 round tests like Honest Outlaw and some of these other guys. I just take them to the range, put a few boxes of ammo through it, see how the shooting feels, and then I usually move them on for something else. So I'm in Florida. You can carry a bazooka. Ball runs smoother. It does run smoother. I agree. Ball will run smoother in most 1911s because it doesn't have a real feed ramp. So magazine plus good ammo make a big difference. However, if you got the right gun, you tune it a little bit. I would say that they're on par with each other. My Kimber lightweight and my Kimber Elite custom that I used to carry always ran hollow points and never had a single problem. So it's 50-50. And then ball has more of a chance of penetration than hollow point, so you got to decide whether or not you want to have to take the risk of hitting something behind the target, depending on the size of the target, or having a smoother running gun. So it's like, because you can be held responsible if you shoot something beyond a target. If you're shooting in public and you shoot somebody that's beyond the person you intended to shoot, you can definitely be charged for that because you should have been. It's one of the 4 rules. You have to pay attention to what's your target and what's beyond it. So keep that in mind. Let's go back to the USCCA thing. I said I was going to talk about it in the pre-show, whatever you want to call it. USCCA dropped that dude, and it sucks because they tout themselves as being gun-centric, gun nuts, and we'll defend you to the ends totally, and then they walk. It sucks that they're getting this much press over it because I haven't fully read both sides of the story. I want to see more of it. In fact, let's do it together. So, let's see. Cups covers and self-defense. It's they hot garbage. Yeah, no. Well, the NRA does the same thing. I'm reading other people's comments about this stuff. But when I was working at Middletown, we actually got U.S. Law Shield, not U.S. CCA, just because of that. And then, like I said before, they actually will not cover your court costs if you lose. They only cover if you win because then they get free publicity. Oh, look, we paid for his defense. So. Yep. Is that wife? No, Florida's not so carry. Well, it's funny because in Florida, as long as you're carrying for sporting purposes, carry a fishing pole with your shotgun. Yeah. But yeah. Where's that one county with that one sheriff that doesn't hold back either? That's in Florida. You have a few T-Sauce. They're great. You're talking about Wilson, Nighthawk, and Dan Wilson. Absolutely, man. Would you recommend the Ruger Light with 1911, the 2245, or the standard target that has the bull barrel? Again, depending on what you're doing with it. If you're just looking to just run, plank, do stuff with it, I would personally go with the 1440 or the 45, whatever it's called, the Mark IV or 2245 over the bull barrel one. But if you're looking for accuracy, you'll want the bull barrel one. Your Kimber lightweight was great, no issues, just found it blah blah, vanilla, moved on. Yeah, that's true. Mr. 45 all the way, yo, what up, man? 1911 or life, yes. Let's see, just like any other insurance, pay your premiums for decades, use it once, get dropped. Yeah, yeah. And again, they touted themselves, but the problem is, and it's not just them. Okay, it also has to do with the lawyers that they keep on retainer and the lawyers that agree to defend people in these cases. A good self-defense shooting lawyer will not encourage you to take a plea. When you take a plea, you're screwed. TFB TV and a couple other people have talked about this. If you're going to court for a self-defense shooting and it's legit and it's clean and you're not going to have any like doubts about your innocence in it, don't take a plea deal. It's that way with a lot of misdemeanor gun charges too, where people are being threatened with time So they take a deal, they lose their rights to their firearms, their lawyer looks bad because they lose a case or they settle a case. And at the end of the day, that just hurts everybody involved. So USCCA is using cheap ass lawyers who don't want to go to court. So they're going to try to make a deal with the prosecutors. And at the end of the day, that hurts you, the insurance carrier, person carrying the insurance from this company. So I don't recommend them. That's just personal. Were you talking? Yeah, that one guy. He's always on YouTube. The sheriff that Grady. I think his name's Grady. Yeah, he's always just completely upfront and says, yeah, come into our schools, we'll kill you. So let's see, thoughts on the Kimber K6. Judd Grady. Anyway, but the Kimber K6 it's overpriced. It's a nice gun, but it's overpriced. It's about $300 too expensive. I've had many people walk away from it because, let's see, what is my cost to get one right now? I'm going to look up on one of my distributors. If I can find it. This carrier is not going to have it. Well, let's just go to Kimber's website. You're going to hear a lot of people walking above me. They're having a party, so it happens. Yeah, $985. I think that's too much. $1,000 for a revolver, and it doesn't have pedigree, doesn't have lineage, doesn't have heritage. It's just a revolver. It's too much. John Ban, greeting from the Windy City, Chicago. Welcome. GP100, you've always wanted one. They're great. Get one of those. They're easy to shoot. Yeah. They gave one on consignment. Like I said, it all depends on what they want for it. What do they want for it? Are you at least 21? Oh yeah, because it's technically, yeah, so. Huh, and they still sell. Let's see. Talking about the stainless or the stainless 3-inch also? If it's $500, that's not a bad price. John, you just put some money down on the the Springfield Armory Ronin in 45 yesterday. Good for you, man. Roy, Happy New Year to you too. Sorry, my brain is just dragging all of a sudden. I had an ice cream cone before I started. Probably too much sugar. DB, thoughts on Colt's quality since CZ took over? Have they actually released anything that hasn't been, that was strictly under the new management? Let's see. Let's see. I personally haven't put my hands on one of the new ones yet. That's why I'm asking. Oh, I love this. This is one of those guys that was a Colt fanatic. I've stayed away from Colt ever since the announcement that CZ would be taken over. The ones made prior to that have been outstanding. Bullshit. Actually, we had a Colt Gold Cup match pre-CZ come into our shop. Had the wrong trigger and the wrong sight on it. It wasn't a Colt national match. It was just a Colt Gold Cup. So yeah, it was a piece of crap. If Dan Wesson is anything to take your cue on, though, CZ left Dan Wesson pretty much alone. They haven't really interfered with their quality. The only thing on their entire thing that says CZ is the sticker on the side of the box. So if Dan Wesson is any indication, Colt is going to be fine, and it will probably go up because the Pointman the Pointman 745 that I was looking at was flawless. Sorry, I don't know what's wrong with me right now. Mr. 45, what you're thinking on the older EAA Witness in 9mm all steel firearm? The Witnesses were nice. I've had a couple of those. Had one for a review a few years ago, and it shot lovely. Again, I think like sometimes people ask too much for them just because of what they are, but overall they're pretty nice guns. Any idea on my next gun purchase? Well, no. I mean, I bought 2 last week, so I'm kind of just, for the rest of the month, I got some stuff coming up with the business, so I'm going to be doing that stuff first. What are your predictions for 2024 gun-wise? A lot more Glock clones, especially now that Gaston has bit the big one. So yeah, so more Glock clones. TSOS and Gerson seem to be making pretty good inroads with a lot of their 1911 Beretta and high power clones, so those will probably continue into 2024. I'm not really a long gun guy, but I'm sure there's going to be some stuff with Smith & Wesson doing tons of polymer guns is ridiculous, and they need to stop that and go back to what they were able to do well. So I need to see them stop doing that, but I think they're going to continue building cheaper guns and not really caring about the customer as much as they care about their income. So that's a prediction for 2024. And I think we're going to see a couple of gun manufacturers go away. I don't think the guys making the platypus are going to last very long. It looks like they're getting a lot of canceled orders from what I'm seeing on their website, and they're taking too long. So, Roy, I just found your channel. Dig the content. I see mostly handguns though. Any long gun stuff or shotguns? Like I said, not really. I've got a Daewoo battle rifle sitting over there that I got to do a video on, and I've got to force myself to really get into long guns. I've got a bunch. I just don't shoot them. They don't fit well on the couch. They're hard to show in video unless I'm at the range, and I only go to the range once a week. So it's always been on the back burner. I'd like to, maybe in 2024, if the channel picks up and things like that, if I can afford them, maybe I'll spend some more money. But yeah, I'm not a long gun guy. I've only got like 1 AK. I guess I'm looking for tires on your truck soon. Springtime, new shoes. Okay. Damien, have fun. You got sheep to lock up? Oh, well, have fun with that. Ghost, Kimber or Colt? Kimber for price, Colt potentially if they build up their quality, but I'd rather have a Dan Wesson over the Colt. Heard of issues with the snake guns. Is that a question or a statement? We sold tons of the Anacondas and the Pythons at Middletown and never had a problem with them, but it is always possible. New manufacturer, especially during COVID, could be a problem. Alex, sorry for texting. Yeah, that's fine. I don't care. You'll ask here on what do I think? A Gen 3 Glock 35 or Gen 4 Glock 34? Personally, I would go with the 35 because I like the round, and it's a Gen 3, so there is slightly more stuff for it. But the Gen 4 34 is hard to really pass up. I'm just not a fan of finger grooves either, so I both have finger grooves. I don't know. I'd have to have mine redone. Ken B, what's your feelings on the SAR 9 Sport 9mm? I've never shot the Sport. I had this regular SAR 9. It shot great. Got rid of it because it was basically just a 17 clone. The K12 Sport, though, that's a hell of a nice gun, as well as the K12X. If you can get either one of those are just straight up just rip-offs of the Shadow 2. Even have aluminum panels, all that fun stuff. So if you can get your hands on one of those, The only thing that I would caution on the K12s is their sights are rarely ever zeroed. I think whoever's at the Sarshamall's factory that does the test firing is a little bit cross-eyed, you know what I mean? A little bit cross-eyed. So, DB, $500 polymer. Oh yeah, well, when you think about it, injection molding for a polymer frame versus cutting from a blank is a lot cheaper. The only companies that are out there doing any kind of metal frames that are pieced together would be like Rock Island with the STK 100. That's actually a two-piece frame. That's actually made out of metal. That makes it cheaper because you can sell those guns for like $400. Other than that, yeah, polymer is a lot cheaper. That's why a Glock, reliable as they are, they're boring as hell, but they're cheap enough to produce that you can buy them for a reasonable price. Cool, because you went for the 35, it was $100 less. Well, looks like we think the same there, bud. Any experience with SIG 1911s? Yes, I've had a few. In fact, I ripped my finger open demonstrating how it doesn't actually hurt to drop a slide on your finger, and then it cut me. An Emperor Scorpion, their injection port is super, super sharp on the tang. No problem, Ken. Obtaining a carry permit here in Communist New Jersey is excellent. So Roy says, since the Bruin decision, obtaining a carry permit here in Communist New Jersey is actually possible now. What would you recommend? 10-round mag limit to consider was looking at an M&P Shield. M&P Shield is good. I'd probably, well, it's a carry gun, so you don't want to mess with it. A Glock 48 is a 10-round capacity, and it has a different grip angle, so it's easier to get over the whole anticipation crap. 10-rounders. You could run a 365 with just 10-round mags, like a 365 XL or something with just 10-round mags. That would get you around that cutoff. You can also just do other, like a 19 with 10-round mags. You can easily get them. A lot of distributors will ship 10-round mags specifically for that because of California, New York, and a few other states. The distributors, especially at the FFLs in your area, they should automatically know which ones they can get. The Shield is fine, though. Yeah, a lot of people don't consider the Glock 48. Another thing about the Glock 48 is I'm not sure in New Jersey if you have to permit for each gun you own, but with the 48, if you have a Glock 43 slide, you can just put the Glock 43 slide, even an old 43, you can put that on top of your 48 frame, and then you have a 43X, so you get a little bit shorter barrel as well, which really doesn't make that much sense because concealed carry, it's the grip that you're trying to hide, not the barrel. Lone Wolf makes a real nice Nada Glock 19. They were, when we started my buddy's gun store in 2019, they were like the most prolific frame maker, and then they came out with a bunch of their stuff. I think they're too busy with their cuts. It looks cheap, but overall, I agree, they have pretty nice frames. You need a permit for each handgun purchase. Long guns and shotguns has a NIC check at the FFL. That's what I'm saying, though, because if you buy the 48, you can just buy a 43 slide. There's no FFL transfer paperwork necessary because obviously the frame is a serialized part on the Glock. So you can buy a longer or shorter barrel. You can run the 43 top on it if you want something, if you're going to go out in something that's a little bit more showy. Or for appendix carry, having a nearly 1-inch shorter barrel does fit more comfortably. So, thoughts on the P220? I've had three. Two of them I hated. One of them I didn't care about because it was just your entry level one. The one I hate the most was my SIG 220 Legion. I sold my Kimber Elite Custom in order to buy it, and it never shot straight. Well, it shot straight, but the elevation was way off. We took it to the range, and at 21 feet, 7 yards, it was off to the left and shooting about 3 feet low. And of course, when I published the video saying that I wasted my money, everybody goes on a freak train about how I'm the problem. No, I had a competition shooter, one of the highest ranked in my area. He's like number 3 in our region, and he runs the range down there at Middletown. He's like third or fourth. He tried shooting it, and he literally shot the post underneath the 3-foot steel target. I got it back in windage because I had to knock the sight over. But from what we could tell after looking at it, it had the wrong sight in it. It had the wrong rear sight in it. So from what we could tell, it was too tall, so that when you're holding, it was too short. So when you were holding, you were actually bringing the tail up too high. So it was probably off of a different gun, a 226 or something. So when you brought it up to sight, when you were doing the equal height, equal light standard, you were actually dropping the nose tremendously. So let's see. John Band, what are your thoughts on buying guns from companies online which gun stores don't carry, that actually going to a gun store and seeing the gun in person? If you know you want a gun and your local FFL doesn't have it, order away. There's no reason not to if they can't get it. I will always caution you, though, GunBroker is not always a cost savings over, say, your local FFL. So we used to have this all the time. People would order guns like M&P 2.0s through GunBroker, but then they have to pay a credit card fee, shipping fee, tax, all this stuff, and then they had to pay me a $35 transfer fee. So on top of everything, you're hit $35 automatically. So go to your local store first. I prefer to go to a brick and mortar store because then I can pick up guns, but if they don't have them, order it. But see if they can order it, because usually they'll get you free shipping and you don't have to pay an extra $35. You just have to pay your tax, and then credit card fees and gun broker fees don't apply then. Well, credit card fees do, but they always wrap those in. Hey, Nunya. Thoughts on the Winchester 1897? Fun, but it'll beat you up if you shoot it for a long time. See, Asian to me. Never had one myself, but a buddy of mine does. And I shot a couple of boxes through it. I enjoy them. They're a pain in the ass when you're putting them up on the rack, though, and then the whole top of the bolt comes back and rips your hand open.
Look at you guys giving me hearts. You're so nice.
Here's another question I got for you guys. Would you guys, well, I'm not going to say that you're not going to stop me, but I want to re-upload some of my first range videos from like 2017 and things like that. I've got like the very first video where I ever went to the range with Daniel with my Rock Island double stack. It's had like 130 views in 6 years. So I'm thinking I'll just re-upload it, and I won't lie about when it was, but I want to re-upload some of the older videos. Otherwise, I'll just redo them. So let me know which way you'd rather see me go on those. So fun, you have scars. That can happen. Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, keep in mind, this doesn't just have to be about guns. You can ask about anything. Do I prefer striker or hammer fired? You like a good double single action yourself? I'm a hammer fired guy, mainly because I'm a fan of older steel guns. 1911s, Berettas, CZ75s. Yeah, they're almost 50 years old, so older does apply. I respect striker fired guns, but there's never been one with a good enough trigger. Even the Canics are decent, but their ergonomics were never right because they were based on the Walthers. So I would say that I'm a hammer fired guy. The Rock Island Tac Ultra, yeah, if you go on GunBroker, they actually went up in price. I don't know why. I had one, got rid of it. Had another one, got rid of it. Currently, right now, I've got my Para Ordnance double stack, and I used to run a Tac Ultra slide on it, so I'll probably wind up doing that again. Walters WMP 22 Magnum, my thoughts. It feels okay. Walther has a big problem with their height of their slides are too tall. There's just too much material there. And it's more of a visual thing than a function thing. It just looks odd to me, so I'm not a fan of them. That's why I don't own a Walther PDP or the 22 Magnum. But the WMP does basically the same thing that a Keltec PMR 30 does for $200 less. So if I have a choice between those two, I'm probably going to take the Keltec first. The Walters seem to run fine from all the videos I've seen. I've only held it, I haven't shot one. I'm thinking about picking up the 1911, but the Rock Island 1911 and 22 Magnum is actually the 22 Magnum I'm probably going to pick up. Bull Armory Government 46. We'll get to all these questions, don't worry. I'm guessing you mean the Government 45. Let's see. At $850, it's got front strap checkering, so that's good. Front slide serrations, LPA style rear sight. No, that's not an LPA. Yeah, it's an LPA cut, so you can change that out if you want. Yeah, they make a good gun. So yeah, I mean, if you can get it a little bit cheaper, I'd try to get it cheaper than that. You should be able to get them for around $8 out the door. If you can get one for $8 out the door, just the front strap checkering on that will put it into a different category, my opinion, because like the Springfields don't have front strap checkering right out of the box, and they're $1,500 guns. Even your PPK is full metal. That's cool. Mr. What's my computer stats? Why would you take that away? You took it away. I can tell you if you want me to. Come back. You're watching my Glock 40 10mm video. Thank you. Yeah, I made that one. I bought that gun on a whim. There was a time where all of a sudden Glock was releasing all of their refurbished guns back out into the market, and I picked that one up really cheap, and it was a good gun. Actually sold it to Brandon, who's sometimes on here. He messaged me earlier today. He should come on here and join us for the stream. John, will you be attending the SHOT Show in a couple of months? Not as myself. What I mean by that is I have not reached out to them to ask to go there, and nobody from there has reached out to me to ask. However, if Daniel goes, I'll probably go as his guest, and then maybe I'll make some videos while I'm there. I don't know. I've never even tried to approach them because I don't want to go out there for a week. House of Random, you ended up with the Walters. You haven't fired yet. Well, to each their own. You own an Rock Island or R1, Roy? So Rock Island, one of your favorite guns. They're very dependable. If you're talking about the R1 from Remington, that's because it's a pair of ordnance. Mo asks, do you play any FPS games? Operator's really good in early access, very detailed features around branch, any course ready or not 1.0. Yeah, I'm thinking about getting ready or not because I've got VR. I use a Quest 2. I've been playing the crap out of Half-Life Alyx, and those, you've probably seen them on YouTube if you're playing ready or not, but the Extraction and the other beta or alpha games that are on there, so some of those are fun. And sometimes I'll just sit and play horseshoes, hand grenades, and hot dogs for hours. Actually can help you a little bit. Obviously, a Quest controller or a Vive controller doesn't give you the same angle because it's one angle for every gun that you're firing, but it can help you learn sight acquisition and stuff, especially if you have a computer that can run it. So. Meant to say specs, Mr. 45. No problem. So this is the current custom build. So it's a i9-12900K, 32 gigs of RAM, and an RTX 4080. The CPU stays water cooled. I don't water cool the graphics card because I'm always trying. You can see up there, I'm always trying different graphics cards in it. So I need to be able to take the graphics card out. So yeah. Jimmy, we meet again. Ah, I see you've come back for more, Mr. Barnes. Speaking of 10mm though, will it out 45? I'm guessing that you were typing, Roy. Will it put? Yep. No, nothing will put a 45 out to pasture. 45 for what it is an incredible round. Yeah, it's old. It's a FUD round. It's subsonic, but it's fun to be subsonic. But a lot of guns, a lot of Glocks, a lot of Smith and Wessons. So every manufacturer makes a 45. Up until 2022, not every manufacturer made a 10. 10 made a renaissance in 2021, 2022, but 45 is here to stay. There's no way you're getting rid of it. It's not like it's a 30K super carry. Hello from Alaska. It's still pretty early over there. So depending on where you are, that's what, still 4 o'clock, 3 o'clock? Awesome. Roy, I agree. My girlfriend has small hands. Sorry. But she shoots my 1911 better than any of my 9mm pistols. It's very common. We see that a lot when we take our friends to the range and they bring like a girl with them or anything. They seem to have no problem firing a 45 ACP out of a 1911. I think having a 42 to 48 ounce gun helps with the recoil, the slower round, so the recoil is more of a push than a shove. Just in general, and many of them are much more accurate because they're willing to take their time to learn. Whereas us men will grab a gun and go, eh, 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 eh. I'm that way. If you watch some of the older stuff, and I'm not just saying this to get the views up, if you watch some of the older range videos where me and Daniel are at the range, we slow shoot, I'm very accurate. First time out at the range, I was able to hit a quarter from 15 yards while it was pinned to a board. But I get bored going slow. So when we're trying to do accuracy shooting, all of a sudden you'll just see me start creeping a little bit faster, and then all of a sudden I'm mag dumping. So, yeah. You're a 40-year-old man. Do you think the 40 is here to stay? The 40 is never going away because Glock 27, SD 40, I don't want to call them hood guns, but for some reason people think 40 is better than a 9. 40 is a girl 10. Fight in the comments. I love it. Anytime I say anything controversial, I can just watch my sub count, the viewer count go doot, doot. Sorry. Your brother-in-law carries a 226. I'm sorry, 229 in 40 cal. Well, he can always put a 9mm barrel in it. Fix his problem. I'm kidding. 40 cal is fine. 40 cal, I've got a couple. I've got the TH40, and it shot fine. The rear sight fell off, but that was because it was an aftermarket sight. But the 40 cal is fine. If you want something more powerful than 9, but you don't want to carry 45, 40 cal is perfectly suitable. However, there aren't any manufacturers that make a 40 cal specific suppressor, are there? No, you have to get a 45 in order to run a 40. Just saying. Glock 40, yeah, pretty much. And the Glock 40, even if it's a 27, will always have a shitty ETS mag that's only like a third of the way full. They never fill it. They'll buy the shittiest aftermarket mags they can find, the clear ones because they look cool, and then they'll put 4 rounds in it. Watch me mag dump. Pop, 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 pop. Oh shit, I'm out of ammo because 40 is too expensive because nobody wants to make it. If you're taking offense to this, think about it. All right, so when buying from a private party used firearm, what would be considered too used? 1,000 plus rounds? No. Round count, unless you're in the tens of thousands, really doesn't matter. Unless it's a shit gun like a Sky or an old Kel-Tec PF9. The round count only matters when you're talking 15, 20,000 rounds, and then you just need to check your barrel. Because that's number one. Check your barrel rifling, make sure that the rifling is still clean and smooth, and you should be all right. And my chair is squeaking extra today. I would not worry about 1,000 rounds. I'll go out and put 1,000 rounds on a weekend for fun. So 1,000 rounds is not too much. Better than Pro Mags. You shut the heck your mouth, DB. Depending on which Pro Mag it is, I'd rather have a Pro Mag over an ETS because ETS is completely clear with no metal followers. At least some of the I have a metal Pro Mag for my 320 and it works 85% of it at the time. Moski, have you taken any firearms classes with notable instructors? If not, who would be your top 3 people to train with? No, I have not done any like professional training. I would like to. I don't think I would get along with Clint from Thunder Ranch. I mean, he's cool and all, but he's way too old school for me. He's probably an excellent instructor. A lot of guys speak highly of him, but I don't think I'd want to take his class. If I could shoot with anybody, I'd like to shoot with Paul Harrell. He's a very safety conscious guy and he's very accurate, and he also doesn't subscribe to this way is the only way to shoot. And then I would like to shoot with Masad Ayub, but I think he's kind of, no offense to the man, he's getting up there in years and he spends most of his time in courtrooms. So I don't know how up to date his training would be. I'd just like to shoot with the man because I'm sure he's an excellent shot, but I don't think I would take him as a trainer. House of Random shit is the PF9. No, when I said the PF9, that's when you have to worry about excessive round count. There's a lot of guns out there where the material of the barrel, as well as the way that the grooves and lands are put into them, not every company does it the same way. Some of them will just use a die machine and just pull through, and then they just put enough rifling in them to make them last for a couple of thousand rounds. If your PF9 still has good rifling in it, the gun itself is good. It's just a lot of times those guns, the cheaper guns, are the ones that get shot out first. A high point will wind up a smooth bore well before a Glock will, is what I mean. The 10 millimeter died and came back. Absolutely, it did. Absolutely, it did. People wanted a higher power round than the 45, and they didn't want to go to a revolver or a 357. So yeah, 10 mil came back. You're calling the police. Go for it, man. Go for it. I'm assuming because of the PF9 thing, I'm bouncing back and forth. Roy, luckily I live in New Jersey and NFA items are a no-go. I only get to shoot suppressors when I go shoot with your buddies and people. You can't own NFA at all? Like you can't own class 3? It's not in there, but like my suppressor and that you can't see, that I keep up there sometimes. I actually had to make sure that there were no guns on top of the computer because that's where I keep my personal gun when I'm at home because it's right there normally. Favorite CZNY 75. No, excuse me. Let me be absolutely, totally accurate. CZ Shadow 2 Orange is my favorite CZ. I just think they're incredible. I've shot one. It's beautiful. And that was my favorite CZ. However, my current personal favorite one that I own is my SP01. Why they put orange followers on new mags? I don't know. It used to be color coding for calibers with some manufacturers. Some of them used to do it for certain models. Like I have CZ mags that have black followers, blue followers, orange followers, and red followers. I think they're just bored. It's just whatever they have in the plastic bin. Barbecue Barnes, what do you think about the Smith & Wesson M&P 3.6-inch barrel? You're thinking about getting it for an all-around. For an all-around like a carry gun, it's pretty good. 3.6 will get you some decent velocity if you use a good round for it. SIG's 365 ammo is designed for short barrels. I would use something like that. If Double Tap ever gets manufacturing back up and going, I love their Double Tap 9mm. It's like a 1,400 foot per second round with a Barnes bullet in it. So if they come back, I'd buy them. Jimmy, you're into your guns and you're into your computers. Are you into cars? Zang, yeah, I sold cars for 20 years. I used to own lots of cars. I used to drive a race car on the street. That was all the way back when Fast and Furious 1 came out. I actually drove my race car to the premiere of the Fast and Furious. So yeah, I'm really into it. Do you think the 5.7 is the new hotness? Thoughts on 30 Super Carry? Thought it was going to take off, but it didn't. 30 Super Carry died on the vine for a couple of reasons. Number one, came out during COVID. Yes, they started designing and setting up manufacturing before COVID happened, but COVID happened and they weren't able to supply the ammunition to the consumer. Number two, only two companies made a gun that shot 30 Super Carry. One was Smith & Wesson, the other one was Nighthawk Customs. Was it Nighthawk or was it? Yeah, I think it was Nighthawk, right? Yeah, Nighthawk Customs. So you had two companies manufacturing it. One was 600 and one was 3,000. That's why that round died out. 5.7 is cool. I wouldn't call it the hotness, but it does bring down the price. What happened was FN's 5.7 had their patent run out. So then you had Ruger come out with their 57, Smith & Wesson came out with their 5.7, and then PSA came out with their Rock. It's the only reason those guns exist is because the patent died. It's the same reason why all these companies. Okay. But all these companies, as soon as the patent runs out on a popular gun, they have to manufacture it. And the good news is that brings down the cost. During PSA's biggest sale, they were selling the Rock for like $400. Why is my shirt like off up in the back of my neck? All right, so. My father just sent a thing. Why is he green? Oh, it's because he's a member. You know, if you're a member, you get special coloring on the text, and then I read it faster. That's the reason I caught it. But trying to be quiet up here, but the drinks are flowing like a river. That does happen. Yay. Love for my screen to refresh. Come on, come on, come on. All right. If I don't refresh over time, the sync loses, and this thing will actually cause a delay of like 11 seconds. Let's see. I'm in New Jersey too. You live in upstate New York and can't get any ATF items. Well, you know, hopefully the ATF keeps doing what they're doing and they get abolished. Although the NFA Act is a different act. It's enforced by the ATF, but it was put into place by a different agency. So I get it. Wilson Combat, ACP Eagle Claw, you're in love, only $3,000. For Wilson, that's about right. I want to take a look at it though. Okay. The American Combat Pistol. I mean, it's cool. I'm not a fan of off texturing, though. I don't like it when it's not just straight up texturing. Hey, none of your damn business. Thank you. He just became a member. Sorry, I didn't scroll down. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. Everything you guys do help with, you don't have to. Obviously, I'm not saying do it or I'm not going to be your friend, but anything you guys do, just go straight to buying stuff for the channel. Like this next YouTube thing will go towards a couple of cool guns. Let's see. Thoughts on the DWX? I've owned one 3 times, the exact same gun. You've seen it on the channel. If you go back, you can look through the channel after the live stream. But yeah, my buddy bought one as soon as they released. He bought it through GunBroker, so he paid like $3,000 for it. Sold it to me for 2. I sold it back to him for 18. He sold it back to me for 18, and then I just recently sold it again. So I like the DWX. It's an awesome gun, but I literally bought it back, put it in my safe, and never shot it. Well, I shot it once, but that was it. So there's other guns I'm after. So that's a gun that's easily replaceable. In fact, GunBroker, they're now selling at what they should have been, and which means that hopefully, supply will come up, and hopefully next year they'll release the optics cut version. If they release the optics cut version, I'll buy another one. You're 15 minutes from Philly. That's only like 4 hours from me. I'll just drive up there. We'll hang out later. House of Random, you brought up Canik earlier. You picked up a Meta right out of the box. It shot like butter. Yes, Caniks, in my opinion, have by far the best striker fire trigger. And yeah, just in general. They were smart. They licensed the technology from Walther with their P99, and they made it affordable for the masses. I do believe right out of the box, they are the best striker fire trigger, and they're probably one of the more suggestible striker fire guns because you can still get a Meta for like $400 and it's still cheaper than a Glock. So try that. I'd say so. Thoughts on the 357 SIG? The round, I like it. The number of guns that shoot it, they're a little bit few and far between. My Glock 32 was 357 SIG, loved it. I have had a couple of SIGs in 357 SIG. In general, it's a good round, and it's just not popular. It's one of those ones that's died off because when you say 357, everybody thinks of a revolver cartridge, not the 357 SIG. Let's see. Which 10 millimeter firearm do you recommend? Colt Delta Elite. No, I'm kidding. You can. There's a lot of good ones. My Glock 40 with the 6-inch barrel was really easy to shoot. Although, if you're watching this, Sam, you missed first shot. But the Smith & Wesson 10 mil feels really nice in the hand. Obviously, if you want to do like a revolver, there's a couple of revolvers in 10 mil. But yeah, I like the 1911 platform so much that I would recommend like the Ivor Johnson, which is built by Rock Island. You can get those for like $600-700. You can get the Rock Island TAC Ultra double stack 10 mil, which is one of the few that you can actually still get, and you get 16 rounds hammer fired 10 millimeter. That's a badass one. Jimmy, you're that friend that comes out once in a while, but when you do, oh my God. Yeah, I'm the guy that got a timeout at a drinking party with that the year before a guy shit himself and they didn't give him a timeout. So yes, I am that guy. I will make you laugh so hard that you're not going to hit your target. And I'll make you want to shoot me. Which one? Ben. Okay, that's you guys talking. Gotcha. Thoughts on the Smith & Wesson CSX? Shot one once when they first came out and when was unusually snappy. It's snappy because of the way it's designed. The SIG 365, the GX4, the MC9, all of these guns have a double nested spring, whereas the CSX doesn't. They rely on the weight of the frame, which isn't enough for it. I don't like the trigger on a CSX. It's got a false reset, so you can accidentally reset thinking that it's reset and try to pull again and it won't fire. The frame, it should have had removable panels since it's a metal gun. By putting the grip panels where they did, it ties you into only having them where they are. So, but overall, it was a novel idea. It was the wrong time for that gun. Dave, thoughts on good 10 millimeter firearm? I think I already answered that one. So, sorry, I'm catching up here. FN 510. My problem with the whole 5 series of guns is they were trying to step up from the FN series, the FNX 45, FNX 9, FNX blah, blah, blah. And because they were trying to go to a slightly lower build price point, they made the frame so thin. Pick up, if you own one, if you're sitting at home and you have one right now, pick up your 509, 510, 545, whatever you have, and squeeze the magwell. You can actually close the magwell by about half. That doesn't speak to longevity, in my opinion, especially in drops, things like that. So I think that they cheaped out on them. The overall shooting of them, I haven't shot the 510, but I have shot the 545 and I enjoyed it. Defensive pistol science, the M&P 10. Yeah, I agree. Like I said, it's a good one. It feels good in the hand. The texture is really good. I would change the trigger. I think Gen 2 M&Ps just have crap triggers. But you can put an Apex trigger and it'll solve all your problems. Roy, I'm a big 1911 guy. Can't even own a 2011 me because what's the point with the 10 round limit? Again, you could run 10 round mags. It's the same reason why I know a few of my buddies that would actually buy ARs and then they'll chamber them in like 458. Because then you can run a 30 round mag. You just write 458 on them, so because you can only get 10 rounds in that, and then you have a 30 round mag that you only put 10 in. New York. thoughts on the FNX 45. Been looking at one of my favorite guns. Way back on the I've been doing these videos for like 7 years now. Way back on the channel, I had one, and it was the FNX 45. It wasn't the tactical; it was just the FNX 45. I love that thing. 13 rounds of 45 and a heavy enough frame, but it's fully ambi because I have nerve damage, so sometimes my right hand isn't working really well, or if you watch any of the range videos, you'll see after a while I'll start shaking really bad with my right side, so I have to switch to my left hand. And when I do that, I like to have an ambidextrous gun, although I'm very familiar with like running a 1911 over the top for the safeties. But yeah, I really like the FN45. That's why I feel the FN 545 is not an improvement on the FNX 45. I would rather go back to the FNX 45. Going to be 10 rounds. It's going to be 45 or 40. Yep. Moski, thoughts on some YouTubers boycotting companies for supposedly being anti-2A, like Black Rifle Coffee, Springfield Armory, companies that make their guns in Turkey, etc. To each their own. Personally, here's my take on the whole situation, okay? Those guns are already here. Those guns are being sold to gun stores by distributors. They're already here. The money that we as a store would pay to a distributor doesn't go to Turkey. They pay Turkey. We're paying them. I know that's a roundabout way of saying I don't care where it came from. But yes, if you are steadfast because you are either Turkish or somebody that's been offended by the Turkish government, I can understand you wanting to boycott them. Springfield, back in the day, well, I don't know how far back in the day, but it is one thing, the Springfield thing, in case some of you didn't know, they were funding anti-gun lobbyists or gun control lobbyists. Although Black Rifle, I wasn't familiar with them being anti-2A. All of a sudden, I don't know what's going on with them. They're veterans, but that's fine. We sold bones at Middletown. But if they want to take that stance because they feel that they're giving solidarity to their friends, or if they have a loved one that's involved in these situations, I understand it. If you're doing it just to say you're on the bandwagon, that's stupid. The more effective way of producing change, if you're not agreeing with the way some places are doing things, write letters to the business, write letters to your congressman, try to initiate change in a civil manner. There's no reason to jump to tyranny and anti-tyranny and none of that bullcrap. Just, there are better ways to get your message across in a more productive way. So become the manager of those companies, become the owner of those companies, work your way up through the companies, become a lobbyist and fight for us. Do something productive. I was not on my soapbox, but if I was, I'd be off of it now. House of Random, SIG M17, worth the hype. Local place has both versions with tan levers and black levers. I'm on the fence with them. Well, it's the only way you're going to get a SIG 320 with a safety. So if you want to have a safety on your SIG 320, you have to go with the M17 or the M18, the shorter barrel version. In terms of the guns themselves, they have the most basic triggers in them. They have the curved standard P320 triggers because it has to be cheaper for military use. If you like the two-tone coloring or the single-tone coloring, I call it dual-tone for the tan version and tri-tone for the black tan, then go with it. But I would change the trigger, personally. Just the trigger shoe, just the trigger bar and the trigger itself, because it's a fully modular system. The SIG upgrade, the X trigger, reduces your trigger pull by 40%. So if you don't like the trigger, that's the one thing I would change. Black Rifle Traders. Yeah, I got to do some research on that. Magnum Research 1911 question mark. You mean the Bull Armory 1911 that sold as a Magnum Research? I like them. They're good guns. They were much better when they first came out because you could get the Bull Armory 1911, the Desert Eagle Government 1911 with a knife for $750. So yeah, back then I really did like them. Yeah, I'm just looking up this Black Rifle thing. I don't drink coffee, so I don't care about them, but I'm going to see what's going on. So, Backlash. So, yeah, this is going to be, It's run by Nazis, blah, blah, blah. Joe Rogan slams right-wing cancel culture. In reaction to a New York Times article in which the veteran owned... Okay, I got to do a lot more digging into this. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to break up the whole flow of the live stream, but I'm going to read more into that before I give unofficial comments. You drink mushroom, not coffee. That explains a lot. Do I have a favorite revolver? Currently, no. The 4 that I have right now, I've got a Burgo 22 with an 8-round swing out cylinder that I got from my buddy's pawn shop for like 75 or 80 bucks. Fun little thing. And I've been looking for a 22 revolver with a swing out cylinder because I wanted a double action to single action. I didn't want a single action imitation like the Heritage or the Wrangler. I've got 2 Smith & Wesson 357s and a Ruger GP. I'd probably say the Ruger is probably my favorite revolver right now, but I don't carry them. They're just for at the range. None of your damn business. Thoughts on 22 TCM? I really like it. I put up a video a couple of weeks ago. I picked up the Rock Island TAC-2 Ultra single stack 9mm 22 TCM combo because the very first handgun I bought in 2017, because I've only been doing this since 2017. That's probably the other reason why I'm not a long gun guy. Nobody didn't grow up on a farm, didn't grow up with people teaching me. I only grew up with handguns. But yeah, my very first gun was the Rock Island FS Ultra, so it wasn't the TAC, but it was just the FS Ultra in 9mm 22 TCM, but it was the double stack, so I had 17 rounds, and that's a phenomenal round. It can actually keep up with the non-steel core 5.7, so it's a fun round, and it's a fireball. And the gun can take a beating because I threw it at the target after it jammed. Don't shoot the rounds that are designed. 22 9R is designed for the Glock conversion. Doesn't work well in the 1911 because it's a truncated nose. It jams. Let's see. Mr. 45 all the way. What is your favorite car make and model, and why is it Chevy Corvette? No. My favorite car that I ever owned was a Chevrolet, but it was a 1989 Chevy Camaro SCCA runoff. It was a 1LE. If you know cars, then you know in 1989 they built 52 manual transmission 1LEs. I had one of them. Unfortunately, it was stolen with 6,000 miles on it and recovered a year later, and it was destroyed. I'm going to pull it up here. We're going to do this old. I'm going to show it to you off my screen. But so Canadian players, R7U questions, 1LE, artistic strategy. What do you guys think? Let me fix my. See, I don't get this. I want. Oh, here it is. Yeah, here's the one with all the pictures. So. I'm going to turn you real quick. I'm not reading any of your questions yet. Oh, hold on. We're going to just do this. So this was my 1989 Camaro 1LE, and that's what it looked like when it got recovered. So yeah, had its roll cage still in it. I used to drive it on the street like that, but these PUD fuckers, wow, that was me not hiding my expression very well. Yeah, they destroyed the thing. I don't know if all the... Yeah, this was in the trunk. That was my first experience with an AK mag. But yeah, as you can see, it was in Minnesota and it was stolen. They said little or no damage. Yeah. They had taken the transmission out of it. Yeah, that was some really good filmorography. I'm good at filmorography. I don't even know if any of that was on screen. But yeah, that was my favorite car. He had their shirt on the back pedal, wouldn't stand too proud. Okay. Jimmy, you crack me up. I try. Do you think Professor Ludwig von Drake would make a good Godzilla? What? Are you in the right live stream? Anybody notice ammo price differences? I've seen a lot of videos pumped out lately about ammunition issues, but your local... the big one is 556223. All of that is being earmarked for war. So there are 2 manufacturers that are no longer selling to the public. Those have gone up. My buddy at Liberty, contact him, Google it, Liberty Arms. He's got a 420 round box for 600 some bucks. It's probably the best you're going to get for 62 grain green tip in our area. But yeah, 223556 has gone up back to $1 a round. 9 mil hasn't been affected, neither has 45 because it's not really used in theaters of war much anymore, other than sidearms and 9 mil, and nobody uses 45 in war. So, trying to keep myself in. I'm so good at filming. Oh, let's see. Jeremiah Cherry. I'll get to that. So I'll read the question first. What about them rifle videos, my man? I've already covered that. I want to. I've got 3 sitting on my couch right now. And also, are you going to drill and tap that 1911 from the other day you showed with the optics mount? No, I'm not drilling that one. I'm going to probably buy a TSOS or a Gerson. I don't want to drill an early Para-Ordnance Canadian frame for an optics mount that probably wouldn't stay on it. That optic mount is a Seymour, and it's actually made for a CZ75, but it works with the 1911s as well. However, I will not drill a rare frame like that. If you aren't familiar with Para-Ordnance, which most of you should be, the original Para-Ordnance was out of Canada. They're the ones that created the first double stack 1911. And when they did, originally you would just buy the frame and then you would build the gun yourself. That's why mine has a Taylor's tactical top on it, because it was sold as a frame only, and it's like serial numbers in the low 5,000 digit, so I don't want to damage it. Mr. 45, that sucks. That's a nice. Yeah, it was. And to a pour salt in the wounds. After they recovered it, I wound up selling it really cheap, and then went through Barrett auction, a automatic 89 1LE went for like 45 grand. So yeah, I was very angry. Almost traded a Mercedes-Benz, the AMG, the 4-door. What was that? The 190E. A guy wanted to trade me for my shell, basically. I'd be pissed if my vehicle was stolen. I was very angry. Luckily, they were massive crackheads. The picture that didn't load when I was cycling through it was actually the crack pipe that was under the intake. So they let it sit in a garage in Wisconsin for 9 months. But they also tried painting it to look like an older RS. So they painted all the lowers gray, took all my stickers off, and they put an RS wing on the back because, they were dumbasses. They also pulled the transmission out. It was actually sitting at my dealership because I had blown out third gear on it. Here's a tip for you. If you've got an old world-class T5, which was in Mustangs and third-gen Camaros, don't downshift from 90 into third without revving the engine, especially if you have a race car with slicks on it, because I did that. I used to show off to my buddies. I'd be like, watch, this engine makes so much power that I could downshift on the freeway and get a wheel spin. And I forgot to increase the revs, and the transmission just caught and lunched itself, ripped it apart. That gear, and in fact I drove it for almost 3 months with a broken piece of gear just bouncing around inside the case. It's actually kind of funny when you're at a stoplight and you try to accelerate and all of a sudden the car stops moving. Let's see. AAC Ammo Company. Don't really know who they are. AAC Ammo. Let's see. AAC Ammo. Advanced Armament Company. Let's see. It's sold through Palmetto. Let's see. Advanced Armament. Let's see how long they've been around. They sell silencers. Okay. Why are they selling ammunition, though? That's not right. Here it is. AAC. They're out of Columbia, South Carolina. They have 6 ratings, so they have not been around that long. And their online presence is very minimal. Naming yourself America's Ammunition Company is a little bit. Really, their main picture has a screwed up. Sorry, their main picture has a screwed up crimp. That's crazy. Yeah, I don't have any. I've never used them. I'm kind of picky, and I'll buy name brands I'll spend more on purpose, unless I'm testing shit ammo, or like when I bought all the Phoenix ammunition from Jim at the store. Fair enough about the para. I thought it was an RIAGI. Still would like to see that when you do it. Yeah, I'm looking for one. If I can't find a double stack, I'm just going to do it to a single stack. Do you think the Liberty Defense ammo is worth a shite? Ammo punches through 3A armor, but its performance through gel is kind of weak. Again, I haven't used that ammo. I mean, if it's working through armor, 3A armor, but it's stopping in gel, that's kind of weird. Dave, 3DFX, if your vehicle is stolen, is it an automatic total loss by the insurance company? Only if they don't recover it in a certain amount of time. My car was gone for almost a year. So, yeah, it was written off as a total loss, but I was able to buy it back after it got recovered. So, but yeah, some of them will do it depending on whether or not the vehicle is damaged in the theft. Like if a valet steals your car, doesn't mess it up, and just leaves it somewhere, the insurance company won't total it. But if they cause a significant amount of damage, or if they rip up the seats because they have airbags in them, things like that, then they could total the car. But it all depends on whether or not the car is heavily damaged. Sometimes they won't write it off. Sometimes they'll write it off right away. A lot of Hellcats got written off right away because they assumed they'd be ripped apart as soon as they got stolen. Focus, Palmetto State. You mean Hocus Pocus? Locus Drocus? Okay, the last one wasn't a word. Any advice for a new owner of a 2021 Golf TSI? I know it's made in Mexico, I guess, but still basically German engineering. Actually, the Mexican plant for building Volkswagens is probably better quality than the German one, honestly. I've seen plenty of the actual German. You can tell by the VIN number, by the way. But I've seen several of the German ones come in with problems right off the bat. The Mexican built ones tend to be a little bit more solid. But just if it's the TSI, where are you located? I don't remember if you told me where you are, but turbo cars, you should let them heat up and cool down before you shut them off. You know, like if you get off on a freeway off ramp into a rest stop or something like that, don't just turn the car off, especially if you're driving it enthusiastically. You want to make sure to allow the car to cool down just a little bit, bring the engine down a little bit so the turbo cools down, has time to spin down. Because the last thing you want to do on a turbo car is just turn it off while the impeller's hot. So, yeah. Old AAC was silencer. Yep. New AAC is Palmetto. Yeah, that's what I saw, and I don't know. Just reviews, best 10 millimeter, your opinion. Colt Delta Elite. We've talked a couple of times already, but Colt Delta Elite's probably the best 10 millimeter because that's what it was designed for. But probably the M&P would be my next number. The SIG X10 is very underrated. It's a full-size gun in 10 millimeter. It uses the 45 chassis, so that's a very underrated one. It's like $800, but it has all the X features on it. So that's another 10 mil that I would suggest that we didn't talk about because I completely forgot it existed. Glock 20 makes a good 10 millimeter. It does. It's big enough that it's not uncomfortable to shoot. You know, like a 30, is it the 30 or the 31 that's the 10 mil small frame? Those are too small. But the Glock 20 in 10 millimeter, yeah. I'd go with the Gen 5 so you can get the optics cut and the ambi controls, but yeah, they're fine. The XDs are good too. Good point. And they're coming down in price because they're end of production life. Hello, genius in math. Roy Music, do your maintenance. TSI motors have a ton of plastic cooling flanges and parts. Keep the oil topped off and she'll run nice. There you go. Barbecue likes Toyota. DB likes Turtles. Glock 29. Thank you. Yeah. You pulled out the old small frame Glock 21 today and you loved it. Yeah, I've had a couple of 21s, a couple of Cerakoted ones. Like I said, a lot of those guns I don't keep very long. I keep a few Glocks just because you have to own Glocks in order to call yourself a gun guy, apparently. It's like if you're a car guy, you have to have owned a Fiat or an MG or something crappy like that, I guess, in today's day. If you've ever owned a Daewoo, you're officially a car guy in my book, just because you were that psychotic. Speaking of which, that rifle is a Daewoo that I can't show you. Man, did I already get through all the questions? I'm growing fast. Let's see. I know there was something else I was going to talk about. Oh, if I started paying more attention to my Facebook page, would you guys come over to there? I know that they're not really two-way friendly, but if I start that page a little bit better, would you guys come over there? Ford Escorts 2001, terrible, horrible car, but fun go-kart. Yeah, they're not bad. I had one of the 2 liters. You use Korean ammo made by PMC. Alex, what's your opinion on 380, 25, or 22 for concealed carry rounds? Well, my opinion on 380 is if you run a 95 grain, it's good. 25, here's the thing, and it's one thing that everybody kind of glosses over when it comes to self-defense. Everybody talks only about stopping power. Oh, you hit somebody with this, it's going to drop them on the spot. Yes, that is to an extent important, but you shoot somebody, be it with a 22, a 177 pellet gun, a 380, a 9mm, a 50 GI, whatever it is, you shoot somebody, unless they are psychotic out of their mind, they're going to feel it. But I don't recommend 22 for carry just because rimfire is inherently less reliable. 380, I would carry a 380, except I just don't like 380s. I think they're snappy. But yeah, you could definitely use one of those instead. My buddy's been looking for a Daewoo forever. I got one sitting right over there. Call Liberty Arms tomorrow. We're actually open New Year's Day from 12 to 6. I'm helping him out down there. That's down there. It's like 18 something. I don't know. I'm not trying to sell this gun to you through here. So you have to find the number and call it. I'm not giving you the number. Let's see. You dated a smoking PR chick back in the day who had a Daewoo. Like a Laganza? Public service announcements. Glock's just dropped the Model 25. The Model 20, the Glock 25. What? You mean the 28? Nope, there it is. Isn't that EU though? It is a Gen 3 gun. Okay. $530 for a 380. 15 rounds, 2 mags. Is firearm? Yes. Guns and Gear, man. I'm looking at their website, and it literally says specification is firearm. Yes. Caliber 380. That is a bunch of bull cookies. I would never spend that much on a 380. Boom, boom, boom. Escort GT. Yeah, those are fun. Mosky, what new things do you want to see at SHOT Show? I want to put my hands on some of these pistols that are coming. If I do wind up going, that's going to be my main focus. I want to look at some of them. I still haven't gotten my hands on that, and this is another reason why there's some YouTubers I don't pay any attention to, because they're getting review samples of guns that you still can't get on the open market. That Rock Island with the square barrel and their weird gas system in it. I really want to get my hands on one, but I haven't been able to find one. So, Marco, yes, you can ask anything, but don't be vulgar. Dave, I drive a Kia made in the state of Georgia. Is that okay? Korean descent. Well, I'm half Korean, but I was made in Texas, but I was born in Korea, so I approve. Jeremiah, you got New Year's plans for the evening, my dude? I mean, aside from the stream, just finished up your Dissipator build, those rifles you don't like to film. Film them, send them to me. I'll publish them, and I might pay you $1. But no, honestly, I'm one of those weird people, like my folks and all the people that are upstairs. They're gonna be up later than I will. Honestly, at 11 or so, I'll go to bed and sleep in the New Year. I slept 9 hours on Christmas. Snatchy, you're ported from Euro to US. Yeah, there. Gaston Glock is out though, and I'm totally okay with that, because like when Porsche wanted to change things up, but Ferdinand Piech was still alive, couldn't do shite until he passed, and then all of a sudden people were able to do stuff. The Bodyguard's a great pistol. Yeah, they're fun. Asian girls have small hands. Oh, I'm not a girl. Shana Gushine. Look that up. I think it means a little princess girl. Let's see. You are my favorite by far for G. Well, thank you, history lover. So, it's because I am big. I'm one of those freak Asians. I'm like 5.5 feet tall. Well, I have 2.5 feet, so I'm 5 and 2.5 feet tall. Damn, same here. Got to work tomorrow, so it'll be a tame night myself. Glad I got to see the stream this time. Missed the last one. No problem, dude. I'm doing it twice a week. May even do it 3 times a week. Just depends on how much fun we have. But yeah, I'll be doing it at least twice a week, Wednesdays and Sundays. Unless I go to 3 times, then it'll be like Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then we'll skip the weekend, or Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday. I don't know. It depends on what you guys want me to do. If you want me to just be on here all the time so we can just shoot the shit, you guys can talk to each other, and you can ask me questions, I'm down. Let's see. So the guy asked me if he can ask anything, and then he didn't ask anything. How'd you know I'm half Italian? That's interesting. It makes you a certified cowboy. I like to tell all my buddies down here because I got friends that were born up north that live here in Virginia. I'm like, I'm more south than you guys are. I was made in Texas and I was born in South Korea. So yeah, I'm more southern than most of y'all. Okay, I'm more south than you. Oh, yeah. So I'm not racist. I'm Korean. I even have a Korean name, but you don't get to know it. Hi, Lego guy. What'd you build me? Screen didn't freeze. You are my favorite when it comes to all things that are Pawpaw related. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I try to, like I said before, and I'll always bring up other stuff. I try to look at things as if I wanted to buy them. So I'm going to be different from your standard guys that'll sit and break out calipers and talk about every little thing. Half the time I forget to tell you how many rounds a gun holds because I'm an idiot. So bet you can make me say it 3 times. Say what? Smith and Wesson? That's not my Korean name. I like Korean food. We have a big K town here in Los Angeles. Or is that Louisiana? Probably. I wouldn't imagine there'd be a lot of them in Louisiana, would there? No, we actually have a really good area here in Virginia, and it's closer to Alexandria, which is like an hour and 10 minutes from here. But there's just one place I love to go to. It's authentic Korean barbecue. It's called Happy Pig. Although when you're drunk and you call it Honey Pig, they don't like that. So don't get drunk and call it Honey Pig, especially when you drink a ton of soju. And yeah, anyways, Honey Pig, Happy Pig, Slappy Pig. Happy Pig is the one I really like out there. And then there's a bunch of Korean stores out there, but I have to drive all the way out there. Luckily, I have to drive out that far because the Micro Center is in Fairfax. So I have to drive out quite a bit. Do, do, do. Aw. What's the difference of Colt Gold Cup or the other one you were saying, National Match? The trigger and sights are different between the Colt Gold Cup National Match and then just a straight Gold Cup. It's a flat face trigger on the National Match. The Gold Cup has a curved trigger, and the rear sight is the, if you're familiar with the different rear sights, there's 3 major sights, sight style. You have the Warren style, which is just like the angled rear sight. Then you have an LPA sight, which is fully adjustable, but it's shorter. And then you have the target sight. The National Match is supposed to have the full target sight on it. But the one that we got that was just left over actual Colt parts before CZ bought them had the smaller rear sight on it. So it had the wrong sight, wrong trigger, gritty trigger, and it didn't feel good. So, yeah. Happy ending, yes. Where is it on a website, DB? The one for $11.99? I'd like to check it out. Yeah, see, if it's got the target sight but the curved trigger, that's just a Gold Cup. If they're calling it a national match, then it should have a straight trigger. The Lego guy. Do I own any rifles? Yes, I have a bunch. There's a couple on the couch right there. I still have to film, and inside my safes, I've got a bunch. 30-30, some ARs, things like that. But I don't do a lot with them because I just don't have the space to film. And when I do go to the range, I shoot pistol. Kimchi pizza. That would be interesting to try with some Korean steamed pork belly they make here in Los Angeles. Actually, that would actually sound pretty cool. Let's see. It's on Palmetto. Oh, looking at the Palmos. Yes, I'm at least 18. Palmos. So let's see. TSOS D10. Oh, there's another 10 millimeter. That's actually pretty good. The TSOS D10 is one worth taking a look at. I don't like the Emissary. I've had two. XT22's down to $500. That's interesting. Also, you have to keep it in mind that I actually don't pay what everybody else pays. So, but I'll only refer to street prices when I'm talking about prices on here. Yeah, see, they're showing the same picture with the wrong trigger. Yeah, so that gold cup with the curved trigger, that's the trigger that the Gold Cup is supposed to have. If you go and you search back on their website and you're looking at the one that says it's out of stock, you'll see what I mean. It should have the same trigger. It should have it should have a flat trigger in it, and it doesn't. So, yeah, boo to them. Boo boo. I can't say it's a bad price. Does it still say Yonkers? Hartford's PTF. And the other thing you have to keep in mind is if you look at the picture they put up there, it's actually the prototype gun. So that's not even a guarantee that's the gun you're going to get. If you look at it, it says GCX000000 for the serial number. So keep it in mind if you buy it, you're not going to get the one that you're seeing there. Oh my God, it's the couch. Yeah, it's the couch. Like I said, it's got a Springfield Echelon sitting on it right now. My Gerson 2311, my Para Ordnance double stack 1911, my Freedom Ordnance FX9, Daniels CMMG Banshee, and a Daewoo battle rifle. I can't remember the model number. And two down the cushions, and I can't remember what they are. Oh, my Burgo's over there too. I can see you. I see you sticking out, little buddy. What do you think about 22 LR? It's fun. It's cheap to shoot. It's a good training tool, especially if you get a gun that's similar to your actual carry firearm. I'm not suggesting you buy a Glock 44, but if you carry a 19, a Glock 44 is a good 22 long rifle simulacrum for the Glock 19. Allows you to shoot a little bit cheaper. However, they are not dry fire safe because, Glock. If you own a SIG 365 macro, the 322 is a good choice because that is basically the same grip on that one. Yeah, and then you can get the Umarex built Beretta M922s and several others. They're good, but 22 being a rimfire cartridge is inherently less reliable than, a centerfire. I have no idea why I keep burping. I had sausage, that's why, nitrites. This is what happens when you become 44. Your body wants to kill you. The couch where I throw guns at? Yeah, I do. Couch has taken every single one I've thrown at it, too. I actually have, this is a three-piece, one of those high-end component couches, but I have with the chaise longue. I was thinking about taking that to my office and filming on that. That way I'd have more privacy, too. Bring back the Smith & Wesson TSW. Yeah, I agree. They never will, though. They must be drunk. I can't hear any of them talking. I used to have the California Highway Patrol, the Chips 40 cal. Sold it though. Actually, that's that one guy I don't like, but my video's on there somewhere. You know what's funny? I've been doing these videos for so long that when I picked up the FNX9, I meant to do a video on it, and then when I started doing some more research to make sure that I had my facts straight, my own video came up that I don't remember making 3 years ago. And then I was like, oh, well, yeah, that is true that the FNP came before the FNX, and that one was released before it, and it turns out I made a video on that too. So, yeah, I make a lot of videos. The Lego guy, what's my favorite gun? Any good 1911. 1911 is my favorite platform. I'm not brand fanatical. I had a really nice Springfield operator that was rebuilt by Wilson Combat, but I sold it to a friend of mine. And then my Para Ordnance was probably my favorite, not my double stack. I had the Para Ordnance Expert, which was actually the lowest end version, ironically. But yeah, my Para Ordnance 1911s were probably my favorite 1911s. Irregular Studios, what's up, man? Not much, man. Not much. Nah, much. So, are you a full kit guy or do you just like guns and stuff? I am not a full kit guy. I don't hunt, so I have no reason to worry about hunting gear. And I have no Leo background, no military background. I've never been involved with any sort of like militia or group that trains together. So I've never had a reason to go out and buy a vest and wear a plate carrier. If you do, whatever, great. That's how you choose to train. The main thing that I would ask is in an emergent shit hits the fan situation, are you going to get fully kitted out? Or are you going to run and then get kitted out? So I prefer to be able to be training in a more civilian capacity than somebody that wears a full kit training. But I don't fault anybody for doing it. It's just not me. When I go to the range, I usually wear a holster. I don't wear Serpas. I don't wear drop legs because, again, I've never had any training that requires it. I only train for personal carry, personal protection. So and long distance shooting. Long distance shooting, you don't need a bulletproof vest for practicing 30, 40-yard shots. You don't. Because if you're worried about getting hit with small gunfire at 40 yards, yeah. Is my favorite round the 45? Yes. If you're asking for my specific favorite round in 45, it would probably be Hornady's Critical Defense or Critical Duty 45. It's a really good shooting round. Never seems to have problem in any of my 1911s, including some that everybody says, oh, it's a Kimber, it's going to jam. No. Tune your Kimber, use good mags, clean the son of a bitch, and you're fine. Yeah, it's all in my truck. That's kind of... Now, I do have a go bag, but I don't train, and maybe I should because I'm kind of on the eastern seaboard and I'm only an hour from DC. Should be something where I should probably train a little bit more just in case. But the odds of something other than a bunch of whack jobs, like on January 6th happening again, in terms of like invasion or nuclear strike, number one, I'm far enough from DC that I'm not in danger of a nuclear strike, and I have a mountain between me and DC, so yeah. But I should train more with my go bag. I really should. 45 or 9mm? 45 for shooting, 9mm for just everyday carry. Does that make sense? I prefer the way 45 shoots because I prefer my heavy guns, but I prefer the cost effectiveness and more manufacturing of 9mm. So hopefully that clears that up. Thoughts on lever action rifles? Love them. My grandfather actually worked for Winchester Firearms back in the day. So I've got a 1939 1894 in 30-30. I have a Centennial 30-30 with the octagonal barrel. I've had 4 or 5 Winchester 30-30s. It soured me on the Marlin 336s, but I don't mind them. But I like lever guns. And when it's Bond Arms, I believe, that's making the lever action AR-15. but it's like $1,500. When they finally come out with that, I might get one of those. You love your 45s and 1911s, but you carry a Glock 9mm every day, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like when I go to work tomorrow with my buddy at his shop, I'll be carrying my Para double stack 1911 in my pocket. I prefer to carry my 1911s because, again, I'm more accurate with 45. But yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. And I switch up my carry quite a bit because I'm always testing out different guns. So sometimes I'm carrying the 45, sometimes I'm carrying my CZ75, sometimes I'm carrying a Glock, sometimes I'm carrying a Smith & Wesson. Basically carrying whatever I'm screwing around with. Like if I buy this Echelon, I'll probably carry that for a while. Have I shot a Desert Eagle? My guy, yes, I have shot a Desert Eagle. If you go to the shorts, if you search Jiminy Show short Desert Eagle, you'll see that I had a stainless 50 AE that my buddies mag dumped on me, costing me $4 a round. But I actually sold it to this really cool couple that wanted one, and it needed to be refinished, so it was a little bit cheaper. So I let them buy it, and then I haven't bought another one since, but I am probably going to replace it with another one at some point. Deagle Jab-O-Matic, you sold yours. Look at my shorts, and you'll actually see that we were able to get through 4 mags without a single jam. I was impressed. I don't know why, because it was just cheap-ass 50 AE that we were firing through it, but mine ran fine. I think probably because it had so many rounds through it, it was fully broken in, I'm thinking. But yeah, we were able to run 2 20-round boxes, so 40 rounds without a single jam. I think one time it just stopped out of battery, but it went right back in. Unheard of. Yeah, I know. I didn't realize how rare that was until I sold the gun. Everybody in here, get you a bug out gear setup and a bunker setup. Canned food, water bottles, beef jerky, chicken jerky, and a plane. I can fly a plane. Well, maybe not now, but I used to could. I do believe that you should have some sort of preparedness bag, at least an emergency kit bag in your car. If you're in a state that doesn't allow you to carry firearms, I totally understand that. But you should definitely get like a first aid kit. I keep a first aid kit with tourniquets in mind because I'm at the range, just in case I have a training accident. I do carry one of my rifles in the car a lot. However, right now in my Durango, I don't have a lockbox. When I had like my Ram, I could just stick it under the seat. But yeah, I would highly recommend getting a go bag of some sort, and putting like power bars, non-perishable items, like he's saying. A water purifying kit. They do make those pills that you can add, and they're pretty cheap, and you can put a bunch of them in there. You're on a pond with gators and snakes, hunkered down in the swamplands. Yes. And you're in Florida, so people are inherently afraid of you, Florida man. Oh, I gotta stop burping. That hurts. Something tells me there's some fellers that have been down there that ain't never left. As usual, when we get to about the 2-hour mark, people start dropping off, which is fine. That's fine. 2 hours is pretty long for a video, I think. So we'll go until 9 o'clock. That way y'all can still yell. It's funny because I still use a lot of Minnesota sounding words too. But yeah, you guys will be able to have some fun for the rest of the night. I don't do cocaine, but my nose always itches when I talk to people. And I got a cut. Actually, this took a long time to recover from because in the negligent discharge on purpose video where you see me negligently discharging my CZ75, it kept biting my knuckle. And it's finally healing. You think them Desert Eagle 1911s are good? Yes, because they're made by Bull Armory. They're made by a very well-respected manufacturer. Now, Bull stepped out of their comfort zone when they came out with their Glock 19 clones, and those suck. Ish, but their 1911s are nice. Oh, don't you know? I say don't you know. I don't say a. Lived in the southern part of Minnesota in Minneapolis, so I never really got into the A. But when I say stuff like dollars, yeah, Yeah, dollars. And some of the words like out, sometimes I'll have a little bit of a northerner out, out, oot. And I used to say across with a T. That's the number one thing that I really had a problem with. I'm trying to cut that out of my vocabulary. I noticed that in a lot of my early videos when I first started making videos, I would say across, like this comes across there, this comes across this, and there's no T in that word. Nubs. Are you talking about my amputations? That's very, very, very mean. Okay, ladies, I'm gonna head out. It's almost D-Day. Love you, and talk to you later. Thanks for coming, Mr. 45. I really, really do enjoy you. Dave, for slide bite? Yeah, well, here's the problem, okay? I was showing a negligent discharge on purpose. So I was holding the gun, and when I was letting the hammer go, my nerve damage doesn't allow me to move my hands as fast as I wish. So the slide was coming back and punching my knuckle. So it was just literally cutting my knuckle with a punch. It wasn't really slide bite. I don't get slide bite because, yeah, I do have large hands, but I don't have chunky hands. You know, I don't have a lot of meat here. You can see when I do this, like my wrist bone is visible. So yeah, I don't get slide bite, and up here, like none of this is really chunky. Ooh, that's medium. That's medium rare. And that's what the hell are you doing to my steak? But yeah, I don't get slide bite normally. Have you shot an elephant gun? No, but I really want to. I love shooting big guns. I did rapid fire standing shooting with the Barrett 50 cal. That was fun. Barbecue. Say car in your best Boston accent. I've seen that video. Yeah, up there, we're going to get the car out of the car. I put my car in the car park. It's beautiful up there. We're going to go up there. We'll catch a couple of shows. Maybe put something in a draw. You got to keep your car in a draw. It's fun. Yeah. Will you check out some honest, genuine, flat earth content sometime? No. Sorry. If you want to be a flat earther, have at it. Flat earthers can have all the fun they want. Here's the thing. At the end of the day, you aren't hurting my feelings by claiming the earth is flat. I'm not one of those people that gets offended by everything anybody else says. So if you tell me you're vegan, great. At least I know I can beat you in a fist fight. But I don't care if you're a flat earther. You're wrong, but I don't care. So, elephant guns are for Kentucky ballistics. Yes, 100%. I like watching him shoot them. Although, he unfortunately has completely commercialized himself. Ever since him and Matt Carricker at Demo Ranch started collabing on videos, number one, it shot him up even higher. Him, Grantham, Brandon Herrera to an extent, Lunkers, which he never even does anything with anymore. They obviously had a falling out of some sort. And the Reaper, Nicholas Irving, also doesn't appear on his channel anymore. But since Kentucky had started doing collabs with him, he went more commercial. And then when his Serbu blew up, he genuinely, it's amazing he survived. But after that, his whole series, my 50 blew up again. I blew up a 50. What happens if you put a 50 in this? I blew up my Desert Eagle. He got way too commercialized. And a lot of people buy into that bullcrap. And I enjoy his content. I don't enjoy some of his content because those are just cash grabs. Because when you see him blow up a Barrett M82A1 and you're thinking, oh my God, he just wasted $7,000. Because here's a secret for you. As a distributor or as an FFL, I can get M82s for $6,600 when they're available, but they aren't available. But so let's say he got one from a distributor, which is more than likely what happened. He just got one from probably from Barrett. So he spent $6,000, $7,000 on it, and he did a video that got 4 million views. 4 million views. Oh, dropped and came back. But he got 4 million views on a gun that cost him $6,000. So he probably made $5,000 on top of being able to just buy another Barrett. So I don't like that kind of commercialism. Let's see. Ernest James Ramirez Amox. What's your thoughts on Springfield Ronin 1911 4.25 inch barrel? You love it. It's in 45 ACP. I take a little bit of umbrage to the 4.25 in 45 ACP. I'm not a huge fan of it. I actually only own one Commander size 45, and it's a TSOS. just because it was $300. But I like the Ronin. It's a good gun. I like Springfield. They're a pretty good manufacturer, despite their previous 2A non-favoring actions. Thoughts on Hickok? Thoughts on Hickok 45? I like him. He's actually one of the inspirations for the way I film my long form videos. Other than the range videos, if you notice, 90% of the long form videos when I'm looking at a gun are one takes. So I will start the video, show the gun, take the gun apart, put it back together. I sometimes have to hit pause because I'm having difficulties, but I don't do edits in those videos because of Hickok 45. I thought that was pretty impressive that he can have a 30-minute video talking about a handgun, shooting that gun, and not have to have a break. And I like that. I actually was doing that with my video game stuff back in the day. It does cause a little bit of grief to me, though, because every now and then I'll have to do a video like 3 times. So I'll have to take it apart. I'm having trouble getting it together, whatever the case is, and it ruins the video, and I'll have to restart the whole thing, which I'm sure he does too. You can't tell me he's never had to restart a video. But yeah, that's one of the things. Yeah, I like him. Let's see. I remember when Kentucky Ballistic said nobody likes an eggplant. Should I take that personal? Only if you're an eggplant, Mr. Barnes. I mean, you're already barbecue. My dad likes eggplants, so my dad might like you. The Skywalker. I'm only here for the free merch giveaway, and I heard there would be soup and sandwiches. You heard wrong. I'm not giving nothing away. Hopefully nobody's putting out some bad stuff out there. You can, if you scroll down though, you'll see I've got my shirts and stuff. I'm going to start wearing those on the channel just so you can see me wearing my own merchandise. But I made a couple of things down there in the spring, down below, like the I Fail Successfully. I put that up. That's actually a joke between me and my friends. Also, there's a shirt I wanted to make, but Spring wouldn't allow it. I called it the Casing Couch. It was going to be my couch with my white, remember my white and gold Beretta? I sold it, but my white and gold Beretta clone, I was going to have that and 4 black rifles sitting behind it on there, and they said no. It was obviously sexualized. I'm aware of those types of jokes, and he said nobody likes a Monday. I don't like Monday either. Let's see. How much money is your arsenal? I don't ever do the math. Number one, I'll cry. I do the same thing when I think about how much I have in computer shit laying around. I'm not even going to try to estimate it right now. It's 4 safes. So, I mean, the gun's sitting on that couch. We'll just do the gun sitting on the couch. So $800 or $1,000, $1,600, $3,400, $4,000, $4,500, $6,300. There's $6,400 sitting on my couch. So, and that's not counting the ammo and the mags and stuff. So, it can get quite expensive to have a gun hobby. And granted, 2 of those guns aren't mine, but the rest of them, they add up quickly. Give me one. I like guns. I'm a 2A law-abiding citizen. Well, then you would know that I could potentially do a firearm giveaway, but I would have to send it to an FFL in your region. I could drive it up there, though. No, I don't think I'll be doing a firearm giveaway. It could create a lot of issues. But I might do gift certificates to major online retailers, maybe, at some point. We'll see. Happy New Year, brother. Thank you, Gemini Cloud. AD, after dinner. After dinner. I'm assuming that's what that means. So, let's see. Investments. I don't drink, smoke, drugs, just firearms. Yeah, that's the way I look at them. And the other thing is, because I work at a gun store, the prices I've paid for many of these firearms are not retail. And when I don't pay retail, I don't have to sell them. If I wanted to sell them, I would make money. But I've only done that a few times when I needed to for my business. So I try not to sell firearms. I know there are some guys out there, like Demo Ranch, Matt Carricker, he doesn't ever have to sell a firearm. Number one, his family was pretty affluent to begin with. And number two, he got into this whole thing when it was just starting out, became super, super huge, And now he buys properties because he has to spend the money he makes. So he'll never have to sell any of his guns unless YouTube kicks him off the platform, which ain't going to happen because he's got 10 million subs, 11 million now, I think. What's my least favorite gun? I can tell you my least favorite company is Chiappa. My least favorite specific gun would probably be the Heiser in 7.62 by 39. Look it up if you're near your computer. Google it. Look up the Heiser, H-A-I-Z-E-R, or is it S-E-R? It's a 7.62 by 39 single shot, all metal gun that has no recoil pad or anything. 7.6. Make sure I'm typing it right. Heizer. So if you look that up, it's called the Pac 1. It's actually available in multiple different calibers: 5.56, 223, 7.62. Yeah, $389 maybe when they first came out. But yeah, it's a ridiculous gun. It's a firecracker, and it sucks to shoot because it hurts. You seeing me? Says I'm live. My audio dropping? Okay. DB sees me. Okay. It seems to be working right now. I've had a couple of drops and come back. You need the hookup on a 1911 though. You're in Florida, so I mean, you really have to use your FFL down there. I can't give you a personal hookup. That's just nothing I can do about that because my deals with companies are different than your ability to get them. Maybe you could shave some on a Dan Wesson. What Dan Wesson are you talking about? A revolver or a 1911? My favorite gun company. I don't know if I'd say I have one, to be honest with you. I thoroughly enjoy 1911 makers, so Rock Island is at the top of the list for budget pistols. Springfield has been pretty reliable for me personally. Kimber has been very reliable for me, which again is an argument that some people will be like, that doesn't happen. Yeah, I like Kimbers, but I know that their quality as of late has not been that great. So that's an issue. But yeah, I like all 1911 manufacturers. DB, if you go on Google and you look up Liberty Arms in Harrisonburg, Virginia, call me at the store tomorrow. We'll be there from 12 to 6. I have a Point Man 745 in stock that I could probably give you a hookup on, but you have to call the store. I can't sell it to you on YouTube, obviously. But I think I can give you a little bit on a Dan Wesson for sure. So if you happen to be in the area tomorrow or around a phone tomorrow, we'll be there from 12 to 6 Eastern time. And again, I'm not selling my personal guns to anybody YouTube. So if one of you clowns is watching, not selling, just pointing people in the right direction. All right, so where are we at? We're at what, 2 hours and 10 minutes, 2 hours and 15 minutes. So probably going to wind up jumping off here in a little bit unless you guys have some more questions for me, because I don't have any good news. But what should I say? Do you guys want to do like a more frequent schedule? Because this is only the second week in a row. Yeah, absolutely. It's all FFL. But would you guys want me to do more live streaming, a couple hours, a few times a week, or are you guys just wanting me to do twice? Because you don't have to come back here for everybody. I'm not offering you a job as my audience, but if you want to. You dig them? Yeah. I thought I already answered that. Well, not really. I kind of left it vague. Unless it was during one of the downtimes. Like I said, any 1911 manufacturer that specifically only makes 1911s. Dan Wesson is really high. Plus, I love the DWX I had. I know they're owned by CZ, but Actually, I've owned probably more CZs in terms of like single brand than any other manufacturer. So I'm going to go with CZ for now until something else passes it on. I've had more Glocks than anything, but I've kept more CZs than any other manufacturer. So yeah, I was going to do this from my office, but I overslept. I'm trying to work out more, um, and I got tired because with my nerve damage, I don't recover very quickly. Live, I'm good. Yeah, okay, cool. You're alive. That's good. I'm glad you're alive. My eye is almost closed, isn't it? My eye is so tired. It's the Asian. I'm doing mass. Mark Vickers, thoughts on the Hellcat Pro? Me likey. It's a decent gun. I like that it's got the larger grip. I made a joke earlier saying I was only 5 foot. I'm 6'4", and I have rather large hands. Um, that's a 12-inch graphics card, so my hand is. I just hit the fan because I'm a dumbass. But yeah, my hand is about from here to here, 6.5, 7 inches long. So I prefer a full size frame. The 365 Macro, the Hellcat Pro, the GX4 XLs. So I like them. I like that it gives it a 15 round capacity. The slightly longer barrel gives a better sight radius, and it mitigates the recoil a little bit better. So all in all, just a pleasant thing, just all the way around. So the trigger, I think that the 365 has a slightly better trigger, but that's just because the 365 doesn't have a trigger safety. But I prefer it to a regular Glock 43X or a 48. Although you put the Shield Arm 15 round mag, a 48, and I would take a 48 over the Hellcat Pro. Is that convoluted enough? But I would want the MOS version because the MOS version gets the rail. You cover all questions. Thank you. Yeah, I try to, man. I have a little bit of knowledge about it, just enough stuff to get me in trouble, if that makes sense. I was always a nerd in school. I love to read. I love useless knowledge. I don't forget a lot. I'll never claim to have an eidetic, but I remember tons of stuff, especially useless, pointless information that might make me sound cool in a conversation later, which is why I'm on YouTube. So that's a bonus. Lamau. I actually like to say Rothel Waff, rolling on floor laughing with half a foot. You getting the eye droop? Yeah. I'm kind of tired. So the more tired I get, I also wore glasses for 44 or not 44 years since I was 6, so 37 years. I wore glasses, and I've only been without glasses for about 7 months, and they screwed up the surgery, so my eyes get tired. The left eye's misaligned, so my right eye does all of the concentration, so it tires out quicker. Before they did the astigmatism, though, these I mean, like right now, I'm trying to look at my finger while I'm. But yeah, this eye used to be super lazy and it'd be super droopy. I also have light phobia. All of a sudden, I can't remember what the name of it is. But yeah, photophobia. So when I'm outside, unless I'm wearing sunglasses, this eye is always closed. So it kind of sucks. Although right now, because my right eye is so tired, I'm reading perfectly with my left eye. Why you gotta make fun of me? What is your favorite? Well, my nephew Alex is pretty cool, but the other ones are pretty awesome. Although my buddy Daniel just had a kid, so I'm trying to program his kid to answer to Buddy. So I'd say that she's my favorite right now. What is your least favorite caliber? My least favorite caliber would probably, honestly, 32 ACP. I've had a few guns that use it, and getting it has been difficult because of COVID, and its efficacy just isn't there. And the guns just are kind of crap. I had the Caltech made a 32 caliber. Beretta made a 32 caliber. I think the Tomcat, one of the Tomcat Bobcats, whatever, was in 32. And I've had a few of those. 32 ACP is probably my least favorite caliber. Dave, I have an issue using red dots because of astigmatism. Yeah, I had a big problem with that too. My biggest problem is that since the eye surgery, I have not been able to use iron sights with my left eye. I can use a red dot, but I can't use iron sights with my left eye because it will not focus the correct way. It's only focusing on the rear, not the front. I can't push myself to focus through. Although, like I said, today, for some reason, my eye's clear. Mark asks, what caliber would you choose for an AR pistol build? I'm working on one right now. I have to do the paperwork for the suppressor. It's not in screen, but I've got a suppressor already, so I know how long it's going to take. But I'm doing a kind of crazy build. Unique ARs out of Idaho sent me a complete 16-inch upper, but they also sent me a 15.5-inch handguard. So I am going to do a 300 blackout with a 7.5-inch barrel, an 8-inch suppressor, all put together. So it's going to be a short-barreled, suppressed 300 blackout with a stock. I believe for a pistol, 5.56 is fine if you use good ammo, but I would also recommend considering going to a 300 blackout. Yes, the ammo is more expensive, although not much more than 5.56 right now, because 300 blackout was designed for a 10.5-inch barrel. So going to an 8-inch barrel, 7.5-inch barrel will not affect its terminal velocity. Actually, those are both 9mm, but an AR chambered in 5.56 with an 8-inch barrel will lose anywhere from 300 to 700 feet per second, depending on the ammunition. So if you run VMAX, federal VMAX, we'll get it back up to about 2,800 feet per second, but that's not guaranteed. Dave asks, do you go to Silencer Central for suppressors? No, my buddy's store has Silencer Shop, and then I got my suppressors when I was down at Middletown Firearms, who uses a third party called Peterson Farms. Much easier in my opinion, and my stuff's on file there, so I'll probably use them for the next one. Silencer Central, one benefit to Silencer Central is you do have access to suppressors you can't get anywhere else. But Silencer Shop, the kiosks are pretty damn easy too. The Lego guy, what is the best shotgun? In terms of a pump, probably a 500 or a 590 if you want to upgrade it a little bit. If you want to go budget, get a Maverick 88, man. Those things are hard to beat at a couple of $100, and all the parts for a 500 are interchangeable with a Maverick 88. So you could upgrade parts slowly, start with the $200 shotgun, put $150 into it, like the bolt and all that stuff, and you can wind up with almost a Mossberg 500 for like $350. If you're talking semi-auto, I would probably put the Mossberg 940 JM Pro up against a Benelli for the short term. But I believe a Benelli will last longer in the long term. Although those 940 JM Pros, man, they seem to be pretty solid stuff. I used to have a couple of other semi-auto shotguns. I prefer semi-autos personally. But yeah, I think the Mossberg 500 or Maverick 88 are the best shotguns for a lower price. Mark, I built the 6.5 Grendel pistol, and then the ammo disappeared. Yep. That's what I was saying. 300 blackout would be a good compromise because obviously 6.5 is bigger than the 223, so you can hunt with both of those too. But 300 is a great choice to go to, and you can just get a barrel and still use your pistol. So just get a barrel and a bolt, and you'll be good to go. Are you a shot placement man or a caliber man? I'm both. Like I said, if I'm training at the range and I'm using the human size target, the full torso, the FBI torso one, then I'm probably more of a shot placement guy because I'll practice Mozambique, which is 2 to the chest, 1 to the head, or I'll do just mag dumps into the body, trying to stay as close to the A zone as I can. If I'm going to be shooting like a smaller target, I'd probably be more caliber dependent because, again, I'm more accurate with 45. There's plenty of videos that I've made where you can see me put 40 rounds through a hole that big from 7 yards. And I mean, it's not impressive, but I can be much more accurate with the 45 than I will with the 9 because I'm wobbly. Again, it's me. It's the way I train. I don't train for super long distance. They got some Turkish clone Benelli supposedly good. Some of them are, but you got to watch a lot of different reviews to know what you're running with because Black Ace is tactical. They seem to be okay, but they didn't survive the burn down test, but they're cheap. Actually, I like their lever action 12 gauge. But believe it or not, the Winchester SX is a Turkish gun. TriStar, the Turkish TriStars are pretty solid. And then stuff coming out of like Daria, Rock Island sells their products. They're pretty solid as well. You like Mozambique shrimp. You like shrimp that's been shot twice in the body and once in the head? Hopefully they're just using a 22 or you're eating some big shrimps. Can we get her an RIP for Jimmy sleep? I'll sleep. I don't have to go down to Harrisonburg until like 10:30 tomorrow, so I'll be fine. But put an F in the chat. Don't put any other letters after it, or I'll tickle you. I don't know where I'm looking right now. My left eye is looking at my camera. My right eye is looking at the moon or something. Yay, there we go. There's my first F. Everybody's telling me to F. But yeah, no, let's see. Smith and Wesson, I don't care about that one. I don't care about that one. I'm closing a couple of windows here. Isn't shrimp just a baby lobster? I'm not a huge fan of shellfish. Unless it's already been deshelled. Bring in the new year with your fans. So you want me to stay on for another 3 hours? There's no way I can do that, man. I would literally pass out. I'm already starting to lose my voice from talking for 2 hours straight. I feel the tickle in the back of my throat. Either that or it's the peanuts I ate. I'm allergic to peanuts. And soft-shelled fruits. Yeah. Ask me something, kids. Other than the baby lobster thing. I like crustaceans, though. I like watching the videos of, like, migrating crabs. If you saw my YouTube search history, you'd be like, man, this guy is a weird dude. Because I got into... Yesterday, I literally watched 4 hours of pufferfish eating things. Yes, I am tired and sleepy. My cousin's dopey. Xavier Smith, Glock 19X or Beretta M9A4? I'm going to go with the Beretta. I don't, and I'm not saying this in a weird way, but I don't care for the grip angle on a Glock. And the Glock 19X is, I don't like short barrels, and the Glock 19X is a 17 frame with a 19 top on it. I'm accurate enough with them, especially for self-defense shooting, but I would prefer the Beretta M9A4 5-inch barrel, 5.125-inch barrel. A lot of them come threaded because I've got suppressors, so I would prefer that. I prefer the weight of an all-metal gun, and the fact that they released the Glock 19X without a thumb safety kind of pisses me off. At least SIG was willing to release the exact same gun that they put into the trials. Glock, on the other hand, released the 19X without the thumb safety. So, Mark says, just wanted to say I love your shorts, your voice, knowledge, and sense of humor. I believe you will grow your channel big time in 24. Thank you very much, Mark. I really do. I'm going to concentrate more. That's why I'm doing more live streams, and I'm trying to put up as many shorts as I can. Shorts are what made my channel kind of explode, so I have to stay up on that for sure. Long form videos are coming along slowly. So if you look at my metrics, if you go to like Social Blade and you look at my metrics, I've got like 74 million views in the last 2 years. Most of that has come from shorts. Like this month alone, I got like 4 million views, right? Only 100,000 were on the long form videos. So I need to make sure that I grow both parts of the channel. Also, the shorts are different from the long form. Like what we're doing right now is more like the long form, where I'll interject some comedy into it, but I try to be informative and serious at the same time. Whereas the shorts, it all started because I was late picking my parents up from the airport, right? And I hadn't done a video, so I literally took apart a P320 on my couch with one hand and said, your Glock can't do this. I literally was just trolling people. That was my first one to get like a big view count. And then the next one was when I said doing this could get you a felony. And then it just started huge fights. And then most recently when I did the John Wick FU press check and said it was useless, that one has actually made me enough money to pay for my DWX. You sold your Glock 45 and your Kimber lightweight, and you picked up a 17L. Can't fault you for that. I love the L. The L is a cool gun. Haven't owned one, surprisingly. I've had a few 34s and a bunch of 17s, but I have not had the 17L. So if I ever get a chance, I definitely will. But yeah, come 2024, that's why we're going to be doing a lot more videos. I'm still not doing this for a living. I'm just doing it for fun. That's why you haven't really heard me like begging, please become a member, please buy my stuff, please give me money. I don't do that, but I just want to increase my view counts and things like that. So it becomes a passive thing. I want eBay to pay me. I don't want you guys to have to come out of pocket. I want eBay to be the ones to give me money, and hopefully that will continue on as we keep going. Barbecue, suffering from ADHD. That's why, see, I call it ADD because I'm old. ADHD, that's why shorts are taking off. Honestly, you don't even watch shorts. A lot of people say that shorts are a problem for YouTube, and it kind of is, because if you look back, especially if you go to Social Blade, right, you'll see that up until September of last year, right, my line has been pretty flat with a little bit of a growth because I'd get like 300 to 500 people a month. And that's all I used to get, 300 to 500 subscribers a month. But that was because I was only doing long form. And then my shorts started taking off, but that was before they finalized the ad revenue sharing for the shorts. So all these big channels, Hickok, Demo Ranch, all these other bigger gun channels weren't doing it. So all of a sudden I went from 40,000 views a month to 11 million a month for like 3 months in a row. And that's where I got the hugest thing. I went from, I think it was 8,000 subscribers in September of 2022 to 100,000 by Christmas of 2022. And then this year I've gained another 60,000 because it's been harder, because many more of these big ass channels have started doing their shorts because they're all wanting a piece of that pie. Originally, the shorts fund was like 100,000 spread across certain channels. But now anybody that can qualify can get into there and make money. So all these big ass channels have started doing shorts. Like if you look in your subscription feed, I bet you it's like a 70-30 split between shorts from the channels you're subscribed to and actual long form, which is kind of sad. No, it wasn't, because 11 million views on shorts back then, number one, I didn't get paid on any of those. So I have 30 million video views that I didn't get paid on, because that's when they were doing the old shorts fund. Now the new one, I had 3.8 million views. Let me see if I can pull it up for you real quick. I had like 3.8 million views on the shorts. Go to my analytics. Yeah, revenue, and I'm just going to break it down for you so you guys know exactly what I don't care if you guys know what I made, but for shorts feeds, I made $600 on 4 million views. I made the same on, I'm trying to see what the actual view count was. So on 3.7 million views. Okay, so if you break it down, videos were 85,000 views, and I made the same that I made off of shorts with 3.8 million views. So yeah, that'll tell you. When it comes to revenue, shorts pay on average, all of a sudden it's not showing you here, but when you do the math, 600 by 3.7. So I get it like 60 cents for every 1,000 views versus the long form where I get $7. That's my cut. It's $13 for every 1,000 views doing it the other way. So Charles, I've seen a lot of channels take snips from long form and turn it into shorts. Yeah, I've been debating whether or not to do that. I've got a lot of older videos like at the range where I do something stupid and it's short enough to put into a short, but I haven't decided. Lego guy, what is your thoughts on Mexican food? I like it, except for I'm one of those weirdos where cilantro tastes like soap, so I have to make sure to ask for my stuff without cilantro in it. But other than that, I love Mexican food. When I had my body shop back in Minnesota, don't you know, it was a bunch of us shops sharing space, and I worked with a lot of Latino people, Mexican people, Puerto Rican people, Dominican Republic, all the Latinos, and we used to have this family that would make fresh Mexican food every day. It was like $6, and you got a whole big styrofoam thing full of authentic Mexican food. probably the best I ever ate because it was all healthy, all made by hand. The only problem I ever had was the shrimp cocktails because they had cilantro in them. They used to make stuff for me special. But yeah, I love Mexican food. Did I start shooting as a kid or as an adult? This was Mark. As an adult, believe it or not, I didn't pick up a handgun. I've shot like once or twice when I was younger, but I never picked up a handgun until October of 2017. I almost died in April of 2017, and then I decided to get into guns in October. And it's a good thing too, because I used to sell cars for a living, and it was a six-figure salary, so I could have had a lot of guns, but I also almost died in 2017. So yeah, that was my impetus, because I used to do video games and cars, and then guns. DB, you will be buying a mansion on a mountaintop soon. Nah. I just want enough room to put a range. I always said that if I won the lottery, I would buy a parking garage and just put like a double wide on top, and then just have a parking garage with lifts and stuff in it to store all my cars, and then I'd live in a double wide. I don't like having a lot of room. I have my house, my place at home, and then I have an office in town, and that's too much room. I wind up with so much useless crap laying around. I mean, I've got a table set up back on that wall over there. It's covered in computers and boxes and stuff, and I really shouldn't have done it because now I know it's just going to get piled with stuff. Not a fan of cilantro. Cuban sandwiches around here are banging. Yeah, I would assume so. Happy early new year. What's my plans for 2024? Not much different from what I'm doing right now. I want to get to the range more. I have a membership at another range, and I use Middletown's range. I use Middletown's range on Tuesdays, which will continue, especially going into the new year. And then I'm a member of a gun club, so I can go out and use that range, but that range is an hour away. So I'll be mixing it up. I want to do more rifle stuff. The Middletown range, because it's not open to the public for the rifle range, I do have a 200-yard range that I can use. I just need to get into long guns and then keep doing the pistol stuff. Why don't I sell cars anymore? In 2011, I walked home from work because I was having a bad day, and I walked like 9 miles home, and I wore a hole in my shoe, and it got infected. I'm allergic to antibiotics. I'm allergic to penicillin. I'm allergic to vancomycin, Zosyn. I'm allergic to antibiotics in general. So the bone got infected, and they wound up cutting off part of my foot. And even before then, I've had neurological problems, headaches, things like that. But I just worked through it. In 2017, I was working so much that I was literally just bleeding all day, every day, never stopped bleeding. And then I had an artery go in my leg, and then I did something to myself, which you'd have to look up that video. We can't talk really about it in the live stream. But yeah, after that, I decided I'd rather have my health than a paycheck. Because I could literally right now, I'm still friends with multiple car dealerships and owners and managers. I could walk in anywhere and go right back to making six figures, especially now, not a problem. But I value my health and my life. So, yeah. How about that for a little bit of, like, bringing us down? Thinking of liquid cooling the GPU? No, on purpose, Dave. I don't water cool the GPU on purpose because I like to be able to take it out so that I can put different graphics cards in it just when I buy them to test them. That way I don't have to grab a test rig from my office. Also because I don't like cleaning my loop as often, and I'm one of those people that does things the lazy way. That's why there's a filter in there. I can take the filter out without having to disassemble the whole thing. And yeah, I know that the piping that I would make would wind up having to get cleaned out 2 or 3 times. So, because that one did. I'm a half-asser when it comes to my GPU stuff. Ocean Dude, are you a fan of shooting in snowy weather or when snow is on the ground? I will go out and shoot in every weather. I'll go out in the rain and shoot. I will go out in the snow and shoot. I've done that plenty of times. Really don't film when I'm doing it because it's a pain in the ass when I'm by myself to carry that stuff through. Well, I can do it down in Middletown easier, but where I used to go shooting, it's a trudge to get to the gun range, and carrying camera equipment and stuff through the snow is always a pain in the ass. Can you do a full-length video on the Walther PPK? I thought I did. Hold on. If it's up here, I think I can link videos in my own chat. I better be able to. VP70, Legion. Okay, I guess I didn't. TSAS. All right, I will get my hands on one for you guys. I don't own one right now, so. Okay, yeah. And I bet you that one's got ads on it, even though it's a guy talking to somebody before getting shot in the head. Yeah, great, great. I love you guys, sons of bitches. All right, hold on. DB, nah, dude, you are real. I dig it. I worked for a major engines manufacturing company, motorcycles, walked away in 2017. Too much work and stress. Good money, no life. Yeah, and when you're in the business and you're actually dedicated to doing car sales, like I was a dedicated salesman. You got all these kids that would come in and they think, oh, I'll make easy money, right? I'll give you the breakdown where I worked here in Virginia. I worked for a dealership where if you sold 10 cars a month, your draw, which is an amount of money they give you, technically kind of like an hourly, but it's a salary. So for us, it was like $1,700 a month was your draw, right? If you didn't sell 10 cars, you didn't have to pay it back, but you didn't get anything extra. So even if you sold, unless you sold like a really expensive car. So you had to cover your 1,700 before you started making money. However, at 10 cars, they forgave that draw. So not only did you get that 1,700, but you also got all the money from the car sales. So let's say that you did $1,900 in sales on 9 cars, right? You'd get $200 because you had to pay back your 1,700 and you get 200. But if you sold 10 cars, not only did you get 1,900 on top of your 1,700, but you also got volume bonuses, 10, 12, 15, 18 cars. So it was very easy to make money, but the problem is you had a lot of kids that were coming in that were happy making $1,700 a month, and they didn't want to do the work, which always made it better for me because I would sell plenty of cars. I'd sell my 10 cars in the first 3 weeks, then I'd have a week off. But it was hard because I was there Monday through Saturday every week and then every other Sunday because I would work every day until I made my bones. Lego guy, am I a pistol or a rifle guy? Primarily a pistol guy, mainly because they're smaller, mainly because I loved movies where pistols were primarily used. Obviously, Lethal Weapon is where I fell in love with the Berettas. Last Man Standing with Bruce Willis is where I fell in love with 1911s. And then I bought my first 1911, and I've loved pistols ever since. DB, I've seen kids fresh making 10 grand a month and be broke next 4 months. I'm very familiar with the pay plan and draws. Yeah, exactly. So if you have these kids that'll have one good month and then they'll blow it, or the guys that make 4 grand in 1 month and they blow 5 grand, it's, I'll admit I had a problem with gambling. If I'd been in guns, I might not have gambled as much. Do you miss the Brigade at all, or is it your new 9mm pistol hands down better? The Brigade was better than the FX9 for sure. The FX9 isn't bad, but the FX9 was always a cheaper gun than the Brigade. The one I actually miss is my Banshee. You never saw it, Charlie. I had a CMMG Banshee in bronze that I'd gotten for a really good deal because some dude had used his government stimulus check, bought a Banshee, couldn't afford it, so I wound up paying like $900 for a CMMG Banshee 300, which was the top of the line at the time. So yeah. Your last live stream, you talked about your Colt vest pocket. Do you mean my pocket hammerless, my 1903? No, I've never done a video on it. I think I did one on somebody else's though. Let me see. Series 70. I did the World War II commemorative guns, the 22. I did take a look at a World War I, 1911 Colt revolver, my old Kimber. Oh, that was a Colt lightweight. That was somebody else's. No, it doesn't look like I did. So I'll have to get my hand. I'll break it out and do a video on it. Yeah, no, I didn't. Do you own any AR-10s? I did, but I sold it. I wasn't happy with the one I had. I had a Palmetto, and it just wasn't running right. I had built it, and the parts just weren't very compatible. Any experience with the custom Beretta guy? What's his name? Langdon Tactical. I've played with some of guns that have had their parts in it, but I've never owned a Langdon Tactical gun, the LTT ones. But the double action triggers are amazing. The single action triggers are phenomenal. Hector Medina, thoughts on 40 Smith & Wesson? It's a throwaway round. There are too many other rounds out that have more popularity at this point. 40 cal is fine. We talked about this earlier in the stream. 40 cal is fine if you are looking for something more powerful than 9 but less powerful than a 45. It's obviously way less powerful than the 10, which is its parent cartridge. There aren't enough guns that run it that I would actually own. I have a TH40 and a Glock 27 and a Smith & Wesson 4006, but I don't shoot 40 often enough to really care. What is the best Beretta? The one you own. No, I'm just kidding, Lego guy. The 716 tread, yeah, I have actually put my hands on one. I was going to buy one, but I didn't. The best Beretta to me is always going to be an M9 or an FS92 of any variant, even the heel release ones, all the way up to modern day ones. I do like the 92XI because it has a frame mounted safety. One problem I have when I shoot guns with slide mounted safeties is that I ride up too high. I was shooting, if you, again, plugging myself, but if you look up the Walther P38 video I did, it was either P38 or P1. I think it was the P1. We were at the range, and the very first shot you see me take, I actually jammed my thumb with the slide and stopped the gun from running. How much more powerful is the 10 millimeter versus 45 ACP? Well, it's a lighter round. They're on average 185 grains versus 230 grains. So what they have is speed. A 10 millimeter round is usually in the 12 to 1400 feet per second, whereas a 45 is in the 950 foot per second range for their average caliber. So, or average weight of 230. So it's a much faster round. So it's going to have more penetrative power. Also, it's a smaller round, so it can penetrate easier, especially if you're running round nose or extreme penetrators. Bruh, I just spilled some nice Elijah Craig whiskey. I don't drink. I don't know if Elijah Craig is good or if Elijah Craig is Jenny Craig's brother. I don't drink. When I drink, nothing good comes of it. Yes, Gun Gopher, you can ask me anything. Why don't you tell them all about the boat trip, since you just happened to sign in right when I'm talking about not drinking. Ocean Dude, what are your thoughts on tip up, since the boat trip, dumbass, on tip up barrels, both old and modern? Yeah, you better change that word. Tip ups, I like them. I'm actually going to get one of those Gerson, the new 380 tip ups. I want to check that out. I've got a Tomcat or Bobcat. I've got the Bobcat. I think they're cool. I don't recommend the Taurus one. Doesn't run that great. I don't have any real vintage stuff, but I kind of like the tip up barrels because you can put a mag in, load one round in, and it'll auto cycle for you, so you don't even have to rack a slide, which is good for people with really bad hands like me. Some days he's like these are this finger, and this finger, and this finger are all asleep right now. Love Rock Island Arms have the 10 millimeter. Yes, the 10 millimeter from Rock Island is really good. A popular company that actually has Rock Island building their 10 millimeters is Iver Johnson. They actually make a 24 karat gold plated 1911. I think they might even still have it down at Middletown. Gun Gopher can tell you. Lego Guy, what is your thoughts on 38 Special? It's fine. I just did a video on the LCR9 or LCRX, which is in 38 plus P. It's great if you don't like shooting 357. 38 Special is cheaper. It's got less muzzle rise, and it's not going to force back in your hand, so it's better for people of smaller stature. It's not going to have the stopping power 357, parent cartridge, baby cartridge. But it's not a bad round. I just don't own many revolvers. Mainly because I want really good ones. Adam, Well, I figured if anybody was going to, anything you should watch out on that gun. That front sight is slightly undersized. The fiber optic, Dan Wesson doesn't have the exact fiber optic size listed on their website, so I had to guess. So that front fiber optic is in there, but it might come loose. That's the only thing to watch out on that. Also, I filled it with bleach. Even ammo manufacturers don't really make any new. No, they don't, Xavier. I mean, the common ones, Federal, PMC makes it, Magtech makes a 40 cal. They're just not that common. Witty, unpredictable talent, Jiminy. Thank you. Gun Gopher, be careful. I know who's been inside working on that thing. So do I. That's why I sold it again. It wasn't me. Also, I kept 2 of the mags. Butts or boobs? I like really fit people, so boobs aren't as important. Yeah, I was not trying to call you out, Gopher. Thoughts on Chiappa Rhinos Blade Runner looking firearm? They were actually sold before under a different brand. The designer of that firearm created the Rhino, and then Chiappa bought the rights to it and the manufacturing of it. However, they have inferior production quality to the original version of the gun. They're cool. They're interesting. I like the lower bore axis with the barrel on the bottom. Very popular. Multiple calibers, which is cool. 9mm. We sold a bunch of those at the other store. 357, of course. 44 Magnum. But I don't trust Chiappa as a company, so I can't recommend their firearms. But if you get one for a good deal and it runs, so be it. Joke's on you. I'm into that. Did somebody say boobs? Ah ha ha. The ADD's catching up to you. Boob, 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 boob. I love bleach and the front sight yeeted out already, but it still shoots great. Yep. There's somebody at Middletown that you can thank for that front sight actually coming out. And I don't mean the fact that the gun is gay, because the gun isn't. By the way, message me if you decide to sell the gun. I've only bought it 3 times. I might as well go for an even 5. Is 19X the best Glock? No. 17 is the best Glock. I don't care for the 19X. Why would you want a short barrel on a large grip? Now, for those of you that don't know, when you conceal carry, the grip is more important than the barrel. You could have a 12-inch barrel if you have a small enough butt on the gun or frame on the gun, and you can conceal it. Why would you want a Glock 17 size frame with a shorter barrel? All you do is cut your sight radius. I would take a Gen 5 Glock 17 over a 19X any day. Yes, the Taurus PT92 does have the safety on the frame, and I've had a couple of them. And if I can get one for a reasonable price, I'll probably pick another one of those up. Dude, bring it by the store. I'll fit in. No, you should have the other guy do it, since he's the reason it fell out in the first place. Also, CZ75 or Glocks. I'm going to go with CZ all the way. 75, it's a full metal gun. Oh, God, I wish I could show guns on live stream. But my SPO1 has a set of lock grips on it. Super nice trigger now that I've fixed it, and it's a beautiful gun. I'll take a CZ75 over a Glock any day. What is your best joke? 2 peanuts were walking down the street. One was assaulted. Gun Gopher, not me. I did the functional work on the DW. Yeah, but you put the original trigger back in it too, so it's not like you did that much damage to it. Hector Medina, AR-15 or shotgun for home defense and apartment? I would probably say for an apartment, a shotgun. Shotgun with some buckshot or smaller pellet birdshot, because you have less chance of over-penetration into the apartment next door. AR-15 is just good in general because you're going to take down your target. It's a fast-moving round that causes a pretty decent permanent wound cavity. I will make a caveat to that, though. I would say a AR-9, like I have sitting over on the couch over there. Either of those, either the Freedom or the, yeah, don't look at my dirty floor, I'm cleaning. But either the AR-9 in CMMG or the Freedom Ordnance for $500. You can't go wrong with either of those. Well, the CMMG is 1,700, but I mean the Freedom Ordnance is $500, and that would make a great home defense gun. And 9mm in hollows, even out of an 8-inch barrel, you're not going to have to worry that much about over penetration. Just curious, man, why did you decide to sell it? Because I bought it back because I figured I needed it, but I also had just bought a Shadow 2 Blue single action, which I sold to Ryan. And then I picked up my SP01 with all the Cajun Gunworks parts in it. And I wound up shooting that DWX once after I bought it back. And I didn't want it just sitting in my safe because I know that if I needed to, I could always get another one. I'd rather have that one back. So when you get tired of it, let me have it back. Especially since I showed you my 80-2, my 90-2, right? Yeah, you're the one that bought my 90-2, right? Yeah, you bought my 90-2. So send me the DWX back when you're done with it. Also, did you like my my joke? Let's see. ARs allowed inside of an apartment are allowed. Yes. Ocean Dude, why can't you show pew-pews on live stream? Because multiple people have had negligent discharges, and on YouTube specifically, there have been multiple cases of people deleting themselves on live streams. So YouTube has stated that you cannot handle, manipulate, or demonstrate a firearm on a live stream because people in the past have self-deleted themselves. You can show on screen and you can show on a display, like the fact that they're 10 feet away from me and I can't touch them makes them safe. So yeah, you cannot manipulate a firearm on live stream because people have self-deleted. Ever thought about Rumble? I'm on Rumble. I'm on Rumble and Player. Actually, let's go there right now on this other channel, on this other tab. I'll tell you how many people I have on there. Oh, shit. Sign in, not sign up. Aha. You thought you stumped me. Let's go to my thing. Oh, I got a message. So here's the reason why I am not like dedicating to Rumble, because they copy all my videos over. I've made 8 cents since I started uploading to Rumble. It's there so that I have the money always available, or the platform always available for the videos. Sorry, I was looking at money. But for stats and analytics, let's see. Lifetime. Let's see. Lifetime. I've made $1. I've had 441 views in 3 months. So that's why I'm not why I don't really dedicate to Rumble. And then Player, I've got 185 videos up over there, and I've only had 3,000 views. So yeah, that's why I'm not really on there. Less stupidity in the gene pool. Yeah, but unfortunately, it's one of those things also where these people that actually need the help aren't getting the help. And then in those live streams, if you ever get a chance to find them again, you'll see that people in the comments were actually egging these poor fools on till they did what they did, and it's not a good thing. So I take that part of it seriously, since I tried self-deleting myself. So I don't like that kind of stuff, but I can understand how it ruined it for everybody else. Are Apex safe for EDC? Rumble is weird, yes. Are Apex safe for EDC? I'm asking for legal reasons if I had to defend myself in court. I am not a lawyer, but what I say to people when they ask me a question about a carry gun is I would not modify the fire control group of a firearm that I intend to use for carry. I would just find a better firearm. They're reliable, they're ugly, they're stupid, and honestly, their triggers aren't that great. But a Glock is your best choice for an EDC, or a Smith & Wesson is a good choice for an EDC. But I would not modify my EDC personally, just because you could run the risk of, let's say it's a questionable shoot, or there's no other witnesses, or too many rounds if they try to go that way. But if you fire too many rounds, oh, it's keys to a safe. I saw a black dot above me, but you don't want to be modifying your carry gun, in my opinion. What's my thought on cut shells? I've never run cut shells, so I have no idea. Come on, Lego. Cheaper and easier to just buy slug. You can't fill a mag tube with cut shells and reliably cycle them. Well, there's Gopher's view on it, and he's a shotgun guy. Reciprocity between states being an issue when traveling. We can still drive through without stopping. Correct. Stopping every few hours if in transit seems a pain. No, Charlie, you cannot. From here, if you go up into Pennsylvania and the gun is in your car, you can get in trouble. So before you get into like Pennsylvania, Delaware, or Maryland, you actually have to disarm yourself. You have to take the mag out. You have to separate the ammo from the gun. The gun has to be in a separate lock container. You can get in trouble for carrying even if it's in the car, because technically inside the car is concealed, especially if it's not out in the open. And technically nobody's going to say it's out in the open if you're driving down the freeway. So no, don't carry through states where they have no reciprocity. It's never a questionable shoot. It should never be a questionable shoot. I've watched a lot of videos of mother fathers that just take the law into their own hands, but yes. You're in my ceiling, buddy. Are you in my ceiling? Can you get the cobweb in that corner? How much does an average YouTuber with 100,000 subscribers make per month? It's echoey in here? Echo. Anyway. How much does an average YouTuber with 100K subscribers make per month? That is a loaded question, because I've had 100K since December of last year, and I've made, in the last 12 months, I've made $6,000 with 50 million views since the beginning of the year. So yeah, if you're on a channel with high view counts for your long form, you can make more money. For analytics sakes, right now on my long form videos, my CPM, cost per mille, or cost per 1,000 views, is $12.27. Of that, I get $6. So for every 1,000 views on long form, I get $6. So I had 85,000 or 89,000 views last month, so I got about $500 from that. On the shorts videos, I had 3.8 million, and I made $600. So I made about 7 cents for every 1,000 views. So it can vary from type to type. And I know there are some guys that make a lot more per 1,000 views, although I'm on the high end at $12 for a firearms channel because I'm listed as tech. What is the hardest part about being a YouTuber? I'm not a YouTuber. Well, I don't call myself a YouTuber, Lego. I don't rely on it for the money that it comes from it. I don't make a living doing it. The biggest thing from being a content creator, to put it my way, is I'm a content creator, is consistency and putting out a lot of material. Because I've been doing this for 7 years. If you look, I've got nearly 1,700 videos, and almost 12 to 1,300 of them are long form, minimum 15 minutes. And I've done that in 6 years. So yeah, you figure that's what, 2,200 days. I basically missed 600 days. So 1 year out of 7 that I haven't done uploads. Yeah. DB, you can travel through as non-resident. Laws apply if you stop and spend the night, then laws apply. Yeah. The odds of you getting pulled over are astronomically low unless you're doing something to get pulled over. But in Pennsylvania, I've been stopped with a gun in Pennsylvania. They lose their shit if you have a gun in the car. Now, I was in my truck and I had separated the ammo, but I wasn't about to put a gun in the back of my truck bed. Gopher and Charlie know I had a truck with box sides, side boxes, but I didn't want to stop. So I put the gun under one side of my back seat and the ammo under the other one, and they still lost their shit about it. They were like, "Why are you carrying a gun through here?" So depending on the cop. And I've also been pulled over by Daniel was pulled over by a Virginia cop. I was pulled over by a Virginia cop and he didn't care, but he got pulled over, but he had a Maryland trainee with him, and she lost her shit on him, even though he was in Virginia carrying legal. So, nobody echoey in your ceiling. I love you. Yeah, well, tell her wife I said hi. Was my previous comment available? It says you retract. Anyone needing light trigger for defense trigger or carry in a situation that requires it, your adrenaline so high. Okay, yeah, sorry, I didn't see that comment. And you're right, but also what they say, and in the cases that have been cited, is that when you change out your trigger, like my CZ has a 3-pound trigger in it now. If I were to use that in a shooting, they could try to say that I designed that gun to go fast and shoot fast so that I could put more rounds into somebody without taking care and watching the situation. So in their opinion, I was trying to kill somebody. If you carry a bone stock gun, then supposedly you were just protecting yourself and those around you. So actually, one of those things where, like, if you're carrying if you're driving like a Ford Crown Vic or a Taurus that is a base model or an Explorer, they can try to say that you're trying to be a cop and looking for situations that causes problems. So, not a lawyer. Yeah, well, as long as you're stopped there, yeah, you are subject to state and federal laws. But also, according to NTHB, National Transportation Highway Board, whatever, when you travel through any state, any individual state, you are subject to that state's laws. So even as a traveler through that state, you are required to follow the laws of the state, because if you are stopped, you are subject to any penalties and penal codes. I just wanted to say penal, that apply in that state. So as you go through that state, whether you're just traveling through it or if you're staying for a day or more, you are subject to the laws of those states. That's why we have 50 states and not just federal laws. So keep that in mind. Again, I'm not a lawyer either, but as it was explained to me, that's how I understand it. I didn't buy your other gun though. What other gun? The FN? The FNX? I wouldn't buy it either. You could buy the high power though. It's the same gun. FNX and high power, they use the same parts. Swing by the Middletown and get that gun gopher guy to put me in a new front fiber optic. I don't trust him. I'm just saying. I'm not saying he does booger sugar, but watch him. He'll eat a couple while you're there. Kidding. Hector, what kind of music do I listen to? Everything. Weather dependent. I even listen to podcasts and books on tape. But no, I prefer hip hop, believe it or not. I listen to country music in the winter because I have to stay in more and it's sad music. I like alternative. When Daniel and I drive down to Harrisonburg every now and then, or when we go out to the range, we listen to 80s hair bands. I like everything, man. Everything except for, no, I like everything. When I had the body shop and we had all the Mexican dudes in there, all day long they were listening to their Mexican music. I like their stuff too. Got to get reading on Texas gun laws. Yeah. In Florida, it's expected everybody has a firearm, but aren't you, if you have a CCW, only allowed to carry when you're at work? And you can only open carry if you're engaged in an activity like sport, like fishing and stuff. Correct me if I'm wrong. It's been a while since I watched any Florida man videos. Ghost connectors and everything. Nah, okay, you have some fun there. Texas gun laws. Yeah, if we had Texas gun laws, constitutional carry, the fact, I'm sorry, I feel like I got something killing my ear. They have suppressor laws where if the suppressor was made in the state, you don't have to do a background check. Probably another reason Texas silencer shop went out of business. What is the best YouTuber in my opinion? DB, I want to cover this one. Your tint and tires are legal in California. In Florida, if you travel to New York, your tint and tires are illegal. They aren't going to make me take them off, though. No, because your vehicle is registered in Florida. That is an exception. The gun thing, though, is a little bit different. Like I said, NTHB is a federal level, and they require that you follow the laws in each state. Again, I'm not a lawyer. You said you weren't either, but we'll have to agree to disagree. It's two separate things, because also the car isn't federally controlled. A firearm, technically, because you have to do a federal NICS background check, is a controlled item, even though it's not a class 3 item or an NFA item or an ATF destructive device. It falls into a different category. It's like the difference between transporting drugs versus transporting a bag of sugar. So I do get your point. There are some instances where, because your car is registered in Florida and the expectation is that it's legal in Florida, that is one thing. But that also applies to the reciprocity law. Your reciprocity is only legal in your state. If it's not legal in the state you're traveling in, then you are subject to those. So and it all depends on who pulls you over. I've been pulled over doing 100 in West Virginia and I got a warning, and I got pulled over for doing 60 in Pennsylvania and got a ticket. So, best YouTuber, by the way. I'm sorry. I don't really have one that I would say is the best. I float between different YouTube content creators because sometimes they say something egregiously stupid and I have to walk away from them for a while. Hector, do you watch TV, cartoons, anime, etc.? No, I use streaming services, Amazon Prime, Netflix, things like that. I'll watch series. Anime, I really haven't watched much anime since Naruto back in the day. And TV series, I watched The Rookie. Daniel and I are watching Reacher. Upload on Amazon Prime is a good one. Just got finished watching The Fall of the House of Usher on Netflix, so if you like that, that's definitely one to check out. Charlie, do you plan on getting any more suppressors? If so, what manufacturer models do you prefer? Yes, Charlie, I am. I'm getting because Texas Silencer Shop went out of business, so I can get their 30 cal titanium can for a very good price, and it is serviceable. So I'm going to pick up that. It's an 8.5-inch suppressor, and I'm going to build a 7.5-inch 300 blackout pistol, and I'm going to put that on there with a 15.5-inch handguard, so the most of the suppressor will be hidden. So the overall length is going to be like 25 inches or 24 inches versus a 29-inch rifle. So I do intend to get one of those. Lego guy, what is your thoughts on single action revolvers? They're fun, but they're slow. It's why actually for my 22 that I'm using for a revolver right now has a swing out cylinder and 8 shots. I'm just not a huge fan of like the Heritage where you have to knock out each shell, and the Super Wranglers and all those single actions. They're cool, but they're not my style. Oofta. Been going a little bit longer than I planned to tonight, but you guys are actually dropping some good questions. Although, let's look this up by U.S. Law Shield. Okay, and the DB, if you're still here, I don't even know if you're still here. So this is U.S. Law Shield, the basics of concealed carry reciprocity. Remember that while federal law allows for the transport of firearms across state lines, the firearm must be unloaded, and neither the firearm nor any ammunition being transported can be readily accessible from the passenger compartment of the vehicle. And that was from a ruling on July 6th of 2023. So there you go. If you get an overzealous cop, that's going to be the problem. So hopefully that's from U.S. Law Shield, and I trust them a hell of a lot more than USCCA. So yeah, I would go by that. So they're saying it must be, like I said, outside of the reach and supposedly outside of the compartment, or they're saying in the trunk. I think they also count if you put it in a locking box because you can't easily readily access it. Going back to my favorite YouTubers right now, my YouTubers that I'm watching the most are, if you're into tech, Mike's Tech. He's on YouTube. He picks up like old computers, tears them apart, tests them, fixes them. He's pretty cool to watch. There's F2F Tech, but he stopped because he got a job with NVIDIA. And then over in England, there's Iceberg Tech. So I watch a lot of tech channels. The Lego guy, do you own dogs? No, I don't, but I am covered in dog fur because my buddy Daniel has our dog. So Gopher has our wife and our other dog, and my buddy Daniel has our yellow lab golden retriever mix, Rue, who is kind of like I'm like the great uncle, like for his daughter as well. So when I go over there, he's a lap dog. She's a lap dog, excuse me. So yeah, I'm covered in fur. I like the fact on your live stream you actually answer your viewers' questions with an honest answer. Most other YouTubers' live streams, they only answer to viewers that pay them in live chat. Yeah, I don't care for that. Even if I had hundreds of concurrent viewers, as long as I can see the question, I'm going to answer them. I understand on some of them that have like 5,000 viewers on a live stream and they're just going that they can't get to them. But I'm never going to ask you for money to answer your question. I'm just going to try to get to them all. So that's what I prefer to do. And hopefully it'll always be that way, because I don't need 1 million followers every time I do a live stream. I just want people to hang out and have a good time. AK and AR drone. DB, so rolling through New Jersey with a stick mag AK and AR with drums is frowned upon. You do you, boo. But yeah, if you get stopped by a cop that's a pain in the ass, one of these non-2A cops who don't believe that we should have the freedom to own firearms stops you, they theoretically could get you on a lot of charges. Hector, do I play an instrument? I did when I was younger. I played piano, but I don't play anymore. It's hard to see. Well, not really. You can see right there. There's a lump. I shattered my hand when I was 18. On top of that, I have a degenerative nerve disorder, and I also have nerve damage, and I have arthritis. So no, I don't play any instruments anymore. My father plays guitar. My mother plays guitar, but I don't play any instruments. Skin flute? No. No. I have band members for that. No, this is, I was working at a convenience store and I punched a delivery box for donuts thinking that it was aluminum and it was steel, and I shattered my hand because I'm an idiot. Wasn't even drunk. Let's see. Charlie, how's Rue? She's doing good. She's still shedding like a maniac though, so I don't let her in my car. And I usually don't wear my hoodie when I'm over at his house, but it's been cold. You have 250-pound cane Corso Mastiffs. I love Mastiffs. Oh, if I could have them, I would, but I don't have enough room for dogs. DB, you fit in just fine. Yeah. And then he follows it up with I like donuts. How many can you carry without your hands? Don't answer. We don't want to know. Unless it's a dozen, and then we're interested. Mike Mayo, 2023, the last year, the Hemi Challenger and the Charger. For now, here's what I'm thinking. They might do like they did with the GT500, where they kill that engine for a little while. Obviously, it's not the Trinity engine that's back in the GT500, but I think what's going to happen is that whatever they come out next, like that two-door Charger that they're coming out with, it's funny to say that because the original Chargers were two-door, but with the new hybrid one or the electric one they're coming out with, they may cave and wind up putting an engine in one, especially if they can sell enough EVs, then they can bring back big engines. That would be a halo car to love. The Durangos, I believe, are going to go twin turbo 6s at some point. The Lego guy, what is your go-to gun for the zombie apocalypse? Man, I'm going to sound like a broken record, but I'm going to go with my 1911s. Although, if we're just talking about in general, I'm going to go for an AR-15. I'll go with an AR-15 with 62 grain steel core, green tips. That would be like a good go-to because you'd have plenty of range for taking out the zombies, but you can also do some up-close work. I'd probably do like a 12-inch 5.56 or my 300, but I think 300 ammunition would be extremely hard to find in the apocalypse. Everything's going V6 turbo. Yeah. You know what the problem I have with that is, though? I like lazy power. I owned a white F-150 twin turbo V6, and I sold it because I got tired of listening to it hunt for gears. Now, I had a 16, so it only had the 6-speed. It didn't have the 10-speed that the newer ones have, and that would have been even worse. But the 6-speed on the freeway going up any hills, and I live in Northern Virginia, so to go to D.C., I have to descend 900 feet and go up a hill and then down, and then to go to Moorfield or to go to West Virginia or Pennsylvania, you're doing a lot of up and down freeway driving, and I hate the fact that these twin turbos are spooling up, spooling down, hunting. I just don't like the way they sound. My Hemi, my Ram, my Durango, my 300, all of those, like freaking 75 miles an hour cruising down the freeway to Harrisonburg, it'll be spinning 1600 RPMs and getting 21 miles to the gallon. I'd rather have that because it's lazy ass power. Dave asks, you go 10 millimeter over 45 ACP? No. I prefer 45 ACP. It's easier to find platforms for it, and I know it better. Ocean Dude, bolt action, semi-auto, or depending on the application. I prefer semi-auto, mainly because of my nerves. That's why I don't do like online gaming or anything like that, because man, my nerves are so bad that I can't control my hands when I get any sort of adrenaline kick. So I'd rather have a semi-auto in general. I like my lever action because that's just a down movement. But I have a couple of bolt action guns that just running them, I suck at it. So, and it could just be a skill issue. We can just say it's a skill issue. Could I train myself out of it? Possibly. But like I'm doing a couple of hundred push-ups every day now, and my arms are still sucky. So I'm trying to build up my upper body strength again. All my nerve damage has caused problems. So. DB took me a bit to get used to turbo lag. Yeah, well, I would take the 2.7 over the 3.5. The 2.7 spools up faster. I believe in city, like everyday driving, it's a faster engine. I almost bought an Edge Sport, but they didn't. They had the old one with the 3.7 non-turbo. I wanted the 16 and up with the twin turbo V6. Then I would have taken it, or the Fusion Sport, which had the twin turbo V6. Lego guy, what is better, 44 Magnum or 357? In terms of shootability, 357 is easier to shoot. In terms of stopping power, 44 Magnum will stop it. Charles, what's some simple ways to increase miles per gallon without voiding warranties? Tire pressure, maintenance, believe it or not, your grade of fuel, and I'll explain that in just a second, but things like your tire pressures are a big one. Want to sell your bolt actions? No, sorry, no. And I know you're just kidding. For example, you never saw my Mustang, but I had a 2014 Mustang GT track pack, 6-speed manual, but it had the Boss transmission, so very short geared, although I could hit 174 and 6. But in that car, the 5-liter Coyote with its VVT engine, or VVT intake, if you run 87 octane in it, which it could run on, versus 93, which is what I always ran it on, it would drop the engine from 420 advertised horsepower. Mine was making 390 at the wheel, so I was making like 450. But 420 horsepower, you lose 20%. You lose 80 horsepower right away, and it retards the timing, it retards the timing, not advances, so that you would actually get worse gas mileage. So going down the road, running 87, which was like at the time $1 cheaper a gallon, I was using more fuel even though it was cheaper. So using the correct fuel increases your gas mileage. Getting up to speed and then maintaining it is better than hunting. Also, believe it or not, don't use your cruise control. If you use your cruise control, you're going to get worse gas mileage than if you just manually control your speed. Which is dumb, but it's true, because in cruise control, it's just going to open the throttle and throw fuel in it, even if it doesn't down kick the engine. So, transmission. You choose not to edge. I'm disappointed in you. 357 City is God's round. You shush, gopher. And you just edge because you can't recover fast. I'm Asian. We're quick. Dave, what's new for you in 24 aside watching another one click? Me? I don't get it. Reword that. DB, keep it stock. Yeah, that's another thing. But yeah, make sure your tire pressures are right. Make sure you're running the right fuel. Make sure you're running everything you're supposed to. With your car, I know your car, you're probably not going to be able to do much other than hypermiling, driving super slow, the difference because of what you drive between 55 and 80 miles an hour is a big difference in fuel economy. That was another thing too with my Durango. If I drove it at 70 miles an hour versus driving it at like 80, I lose 3 miles per gallon because of the wind resistance, and you've got a pretty flat front on your car. Red dot or iron sight? I've come around the red dots, but I still like an iron sight. I like the challenge. A lot of guys say, why make it more challenging? I like an iron sight because I carry irons. I've carried guns with optics, but only an outside the waistband. I don't know how much I would enjoy carrying appendix with a red dot. So for now, I'm still going to be an irons guy, but I respect the red dot. I would run a red dot. I use red dots on any rifle length guns I have when applicable, but iron sights for my pistols. Anything else? Come on, come on. Another year clicks by. What would be new for you in 24? My buddy Daniel is trying to set up his own store, and then we're going to be doing a garage. Hopefully that comes to fruition this year. I'm looking for a different shop. I have an office with a couple of offices in it, but I would rather drop that and get a garage so that I can do more car content. I can't work on cars right now because I just don't have the room. So if you hammer your eco, you're at like 16, just cruising 22. Yeah, exactly. But also I'm going to point out that my Ram, when my father drove it, when he borrowed it, could get 26 miles to the gallon. When I drove it, it gets 17. So, but the fact that he can get, and it was a Hemi crew cab, but he drives it like a little old man because he's a little old man. So you don't want to do gunsmithing. I work on my own guns. I don't like working on other people's guns. There's money to be made, but I can make just as much money with a body shop. In gunsmithing, I don't like how long it takes. I have training. I am Glock certified, but I just don't like to work on other people's guns. Gopher does. Gopher will work on your stuff. Won't you, Gopher? Let's see. Woo. I got 5 days left to wait, but I might be winning a 14 drawer Snap-on box for a good price. Also winning some Beats earbuds. Dang, why can't you guys be in Florida? I'm there in spirit. Ocean Dude, what's your thought on auto companies putting big displacement turbo 4-cylinders in full-size trucks, Chevy, over the Oh, that, what a joke. What a goddamn joke. I don't approve of it at all. Honestly, I don't like twin turbos in the trucks, but at least they make the power. When I was shopping during COVID, I traded a 300 Hemi for a Ram Laramie. My other buddy who owns a Chevy dealer offered me at sticker, because they were having this much trouble selling them, and this was during the height of COVID when everything was 10 to 15K over. He offered me a crew cab turbo 4-cylinder Silverado, fully loaded. It was an LTZ, and I said, hell no. It made the same power as their old V6, but a turbo 4-cylinder crew cab, I can't do that. That's why I got rid of the Ford, because I couldn't handle a V6. So yeah, no, I say no. What is my concealed carry position? I have two different concealed carry positions. I'm tall enough and I have a long torso, so I wear long shirts. I actually pocket carry a 1911 a lot of times when I'm at the store, or I'll open carry a 1911, but I actually have enough height that I can hide everything except for the very top of the grip of a 1911. But usually I carry at the 4 o'clock on my right side, in case you're thinking of coming up behind me for some reason. Lego guy, lever action or bolt action? Lever action. I prefer lever action. Snatch. How do I feel about the CZ Scorpion Evo? Never shot one. I've played with them. They seem kind of cool. Dedicated mags, I always have a problem with that. And then depending on which version of it you get, at 3.1 or the originals, they're not interchangeable, so that's a pain in the ass. But the gun itself seems kind of cool. Yeah, baby, mail it to Jiminy's P.O. Box and I'll make it sing. FFL. What's up, Lobster? DB, the V6 twin turbo is very peppy. It eats V8s off the line. Yeah, it does. I'm always thinking about coming up behind you. I'm the jetpack. There's a company making a 45 ACP conversion for the Scorpion Eagle. That makes it a little bit more interesting. That would definitely be cool. Dave, Glock 21 or SIG P220? I like the 220 because it's more of a 1911 style gun, being all metal. I will say the Glock 21 probably shoots better, but it does have a big chunky ass grip on it. Ocean Dude, thoughts on AK-47 M92? That would be something for Gopher to answer. I'm not an AK guy. I'm barely an AR guy. I appreciate the AK-47s. I'm probably buying a NAC 9 tomorrow, the Century Arms NAC 9, the Draco NAC, NAK, NAC 9. So we'll have to see. Gopher likes seeing how you react when he takes your mags. Gun Gopher, I don't believe he does yet, but I believe he said he was going to set up one where he shoots mice, you know, pest control. Sorry, Snatchy. Lever action or bolt action? I believe I answered that. Lever action. I prefer lever action because it's easier for me with my nerve damage to just sweep down versus different guns have different patterns. So, Beretta 92FS or 92X? I would actually go with the 92XI, which has the inox grip and the frame-mounted safety decocker. That would be my preference. Or the Performance, which is a $1,500 92 with the frame-mounted safety. Dave, strikers are more reliable than hammer in your opinion? I am going to actually say no. I think they're both very reliable, but I've had probably more light strikes with a striker fired gun than I have with a hammer fired gun. Mainly because the force of the hammer acting on the fire pin is more consistent, in my opinion, than just a spring launching your striker forward. You don't nearly hear of as many light primer strikes on hammer fired guns. 1911s don't light hammer strike at all. So I'm going to say striker fires are less reliable, but you're talking about a difference of like 1 in 1,000 or 1 in 5,000. So yeah, I'm going to say hammers are more reliable. DB, NAC 9 9mm, almost grabbed one a few months ago. Yeah, I can get one for like $400, so I'm thinking about it. Oh my God, the 410. Get a 410. Go for it. AKV. Old PSAs, you got to watch out. Some of the old PSA AKs were mag specific. Gun Gopher, Xavier. No, I've been toying with one as an idea. What did he say? Do you have a YouTube channel? Yeah, I keep telling him he should do it, but he wants to be very, very, very gunny. Sorry if I repeat the same question. It's because you're at an RV. That's fine, dude. I answer it. I'll always answer it. I just wasn't sure if you had saw it or not. Why is Willie the plaid jacket from Goodwill chasing me? I don't get the reference. Dave, did you hear about the FN 509s having the strikers break? Yes, and 365s when they first came out had hammer or striker drag, and there's a few other companies. Canucks, early Canucks were having striker problems where they were snapping off. So again, big difference. And I have never in my 5 years seen like a Rock Island have a firing pin just break unless you're running over pressure rounds. So again, that's why I say that hammers are more reliable than strikers. Snatchy, how hard was it to start up your channel? Not hard at all. I started the channel, my very first video. Let me pull it up here. Was 7 years ago. It's had 73 views. It was the Welcome to Jiminy vids. I was originally calling it Jiminy Vids. So that was 7 years ago. And I literally did that because Vine had died. They killed Vine because Instagram took over. And I was doing Vine videos, the 6-second videos, and I decided to come over here. And then I started doing video game haul videos because there were lots of video games at the time. If you go and sort by oldest and scroll down, you'll see one of my old offices that was in downtown was very yellow. So I looked extremely yellow. Also, yeah, no, now that I'm looking at it, holy shit, why did people ever look at me? But yeah, no, it wasn't hard to start it. But again, if you look at a lot of these videos, especially the early ones, they're all one-take videos. I would just film them because I was doing 2 or 3 videos a day as well. That was the other thing. You loved Vine. So did I. It was fun to do simple ones. I actually have a collections video of some of my old Vines. Some of them got me some stuff. Let's pass a vote. We get a Counter-Strike match going. I would lose so bad. I suck at Counter-Strike. Again, it has to do with my nerves. Like if I get any kind of flustering, my hand just stops working and I can't do anything. You just want my my stream name. Might have something to do with Jiminy. Cheers, bro. I'd crack a beer with you any day. If I still drank. I don't drink anymore. Because the last time I drank, it didn't go well. Because somebody tried to poison me. After I poisoned myself. Gopher. Do I play video games? Yes. Yes, I do. But mostly single player only stuff. No online games. I just can't get into them. I don't play. I have PUBG. I have Overwatch. I have Fortnite. But I refuse to play them because I don't want to get addicted. Forza Horizon 5 is the most online game that I play. Yeah, I'd share a mag with you. It's only a 4080. I can't say it's a 4090. I wish it was a 4090, but I meant to buy because I got this for a steal. It's a 4080, and I bought it off of eBay for like $800. So it was like $400 under cost. But I wanted a 4090, but because of the China thing with the embargo, scalpers started bringing up the price again. So the cheapest 4090 in my area. And what's funny, I posted a picture. I actually have this all set up, and the other day I spent like 7 hours playing Gran Turismo 1. But let's see. Fairfax, Rockville, Parkville. Let's go to Parkville. This is a store that's about an hour from me. PC parts, graphics cards. Let's see what they charge for 4090s right now. RTX 40 series. Thank you for bringing me bacon.
Bacon wrapped chicken.
Bacon wrapped chicken.
Hello, Jiminy World.
Hello, yeah, that's my old man. In case you couldn't tell. Random stranger! Where were we? Oh yeah, we were looking these up. So yeah, in fact, they only have 4080s. They don't even have 4090s, and they're $1,500 right now. As I'm computer illiterate, can you explain overclocking? Yes, overclocking is when you buy any of the products that you see in there, the CPU, the GPU, the RAM, all of that is set within a factory limit for frequency or power draw, things like that. When you overclock it, you are typically adding more power to it in order to get it to run at a higher frequency or faster speeds. Like this water cooling setup would allow me to overclock this CPU. If you were using a store-bought air cooler, you wouldn't have as much headroom. So overclocking, and especially nowadays, it's actually not as beneficial. This older stuff, like this thing will overclock by like 30-40%. This thing overclocks by like 8%, but it's still an improvement over factory. It's like when you tune an engine, put a tune on a car. The manufacturer builds everything. Anything manufactured is built with longevity and reliability in mind. So it's designed to run constantly at that speed. When you overclock, you take the risk of damaging it. For example, to get a CPU to run faster, you have to pump more voltage into it, and that can cause it to run hotter. That's why I have mine liquid cooled. And yes, I'm very self-aware, Gopher. So you would never do OCRP. I wouldn't mind doing role play in GTA. I think I could have some fun with it. I do a bunch of different voices, so they would have to invite me though. Yeah, stranger danger. DB, dude, no problem. I actually went like a lot longer than I planned. We're at like 3.5 hours. I was only going to do 2 hours. Dave, you are using EK distro and CPU block and fittings. Yes, and an EK LC cool stream radiator. But yes, those are EK, those nice fittings on there. EK, this is actually a Fractal Design distribution block. It's not made for this case. It's actually made for a Fantex, or not, yeah, it's made for a smaller Fantex case, but it works fine in there. And that's a Corsair block on the cooler because I got it on sale at Micro Center. I am the epitome of stranger danger. Not really. By the time I'm done with you, you're thanking me. Please don't clip this. What is the most expensive gun in your collection? I've got a few that are in the few $1,000 range. I don't have like super high-end expensive stuff. My 39 3030 is actually worth quite a bit because it has the original peep sight on it, so that's worth like $2,500. When I had the DWX at the time, it was a $2,500 gun. I've got several Legion guns that are worth a couple of grand. So, you know, nothing that's going to be worth like 5, 7, 10 grand. I don't have any Nighthawks anymore. I had one for a little while and got rid of it. So I'd probably say my most expensive gun is probably going to be like a $2,500 rifle that I have. Dave, you've been building performance PCs for years now. That's how you know. What's funny is I didn't start building custom PCs until 2018 or 2019. 2018, when I moved into a place in downtown, I started building them, and then I got addicted to it. This is back when Jay's 2 Cents was actually just like a small timeline. He had like 300,000 subs or 400,000 subs, and he got me into water cooling. I did my first water cooling loop because I watched him do Red Mist, or I think it was Red Mist back in the day, and he was working out of his little garage and he had no room, so he had to make everything happen on a budget. I don't watch him now, but I used to watch him back then. Have I ever been in a situation where I had to draw my weapon in self-defense without firing? I have drawn my gun in the gun store a few times, but that's because idiots will pull their guns and I don't know what they're doing. I've never been in a situation out in the public where I've had to draw my gun. It's absolutely last case scenario. I have gotten into plenty of arguments in the public, but unless I'm 6'4", I'm 245 pounds, I'm a big dude. Most people don't F with me, and if they did, they'd have to be pretty serious for me to draw my gun. I'm not going to draw my gun unless I plan on using it. Ocean Dude, thank you so much, dude. Appreciate you stopping in. Thank you so much for checking out and spending some time with me. Come back for another one. Like I said, I'm debating whether to do it Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Sunday, or just keep doing only 2 a week. 4 or 2, you guys can pick. You're hiding an Atlas Athena in the safe. I wish. I would love to get my hands on one. I was thinking about buying the Rock Island Tac Ultra and sending it off and having the gunworks done to it. Clip it harder, uwu. You just got me to say uwu. Did you use a pressure tester before you filled the loop? No, dude. I just send it. I'm dead serious. I don't ever pressure test. I sand all my edges down. I try to clean up all the edges for the water cooling. I always use a secondary power supply. I don't keep like the GPU or any of the drives on the computer on the motherboard. But dude, I'll just put paper towel under it and I just send it. And up until a few years ago, I didn't have any problems. I had a third-party fitting. It wasn't a Bits Power. I think it was a Titan rig fitting let go, but it was over on this side, so it just dripped down. I live dangerously. Plus, it really wasn't as big a thing until a few companies have started showing them pressure testing. Are you going to get a new PC? No. I mean, I'll build one if I need to, but right now the 12900K is still more than adequate, and the 4080 is plenty. I have been thinking about a different case because this is actually a 15-inch monitor. God, I hope there's nothing that is USB-C powered. But let's plug it in and see what it does. But there's so much room in this case for activities that I'm literally running a 15.6-inch screen in the case. Yeah, see? Oh, good, no porn. You got to worry about that sometimes. But yeah, that's where I usually monitor my stats and stuff. So yeah, like when I'm gaming and stuff, I'll have it up there, or if I have a cheat or anything set up, I'll just run it here on this other screen. So yep. More what? Oh, more video, more lives. Cool. Any funny or weird stories while you were working at the gun store? Yes. Gopher can back me on this. I wasn't there for it, but they were. A guy came in and bought a 22 caliber handgun, went home, and same day shot himself in the hand, called back into the store and was going to sue us before he called anybody else, before he even went to the hospital. And apparently he had specifically chosen the Walther 22 because they had a problem with decocking. Now, this guy was left-handed, and he somehow said he managed to discharge into his hand while decocking it. Now, the gun has a decocker. And why on earth would you put your hand in front of the barrel when you're decocking it? We don't know. But, yeah, Gopher can confirm that guy. That was probably the weird one. Funny one, I had a guy bring me a HKP7 with 4 mags and a box, and I traded him for a Kimber carry. So that's kind of a fun one. So he traded me a $2,700 handgun for a $700 gun. So that was fun. And then I've had dozens of guns pointed at me that were loaded, because that's my favorite thing. You see it on like the shorts, and like these guys are talking about don't do this at a gun store, and you'll have a guy, like they'll make fun of a guy coming in and having a loaded gun. I literally, last year before Christmas, I was working down in Harrisonburg. A guy brings in a PK380, Walther PK380. He starts taking it out. I said, I'm going to clear it. He says, no, man, don't worry about it. It's totally clear. Rack it, round pops out. Full mag, chambered round. And he's looking at me, and I unload the rounds from the magazine. I said, I'm keeping the ammo. He's like, oh, man, I always make sure. I said, nope, that's why I make sure. And in fact, that goes all the way back to the first day my buddy's store was open down in Harrisonburg. The very first gun I showed, my very first day that store was open, was a consignment Sky CPX-1. If you know the CPX-1, you know that they have a revolver-style trigger that's almost 11 pounds, and it sucks. The first thing I said to this customer is, here, try this trigger. Luckily, I had been taught to check the gun before you hand it to a customer, because I racked it and pops out a round. Dude gave us a loaded gun, and whoever checked the gun in didn't check it and put it in the case. So yes, the very first day we were open was almost the last day we were open. Your videos just hit different. Thank you, Lego guy. Is that a good thing? I guess so. You've been here for 3 hours with me, so I'm hoping so. My back is sweating from sitting on this chair, and my ass fell asleep. Does that ever happen? Oh, I have floating ribs. Yeah. All right, so what are we at? 3:43. We're going to go to 4 hours, and then we're going to call it quits at 11 o'clock. That way everybody else can hang out. Hi, Jason. Did you do your homework? Did you do a Fortnite? Did you win? Are you a winner, son? I'm going to try one of these. Oh, spicy. They didn't tell me. You didn't tell me it was spicy. Oh. Didn't I have that happen with the cop? Yeah, we did. That was at Middletown, though. Cop comes in, he wants a holster, pulls out his gun. I go, I need to clear it. He says, no, it's clear. And I rack it, and a round comes out. Ooh. Fuck. I don't know why I keep managing to catch you towards the ends of your stream. I don't know. I keep telling you they're at 7 o'clock Eastern. Where are you, Jason? Did you do your laundry? I had a situation where my bro's gun was not found at time of pickup and the store was panicking. Yeah, that sucks. We've had that happen. Sometimes whoever checks it in puts it in the wrong place. We've had people get the wrong gun. Yeah, it can be a bit of a pain in the ass, but yeah, that sucks. Hopefully it came out well. Any guns you would never trade? My grandfather's guns. Winchester 1894 model, 1894 3030. It's a 1939 model. My PSA Virginia lower with the Franklin binary trigger. My buddy Daniel built that for me as a gift. Anything I ever received as a gift or we have as an inheritance will never get traded. Other than that, most guns are up for grabs. If I have friends that really want my guns, like Will Fong, the guy that bought my DWX, I'm pretty sure that's the right guy. No, that was Gerald. Anyways, a couple of my customers at the store knew about my guns and really wanted them, so I've sold them the guns because I'd rather have friends that I appreciate and I take care of than a gun. There's almost no gun that I wouldn't trade other than gifts. There's something about your videos that just hit different. I like to put this out there, is that I'm not inhibited like a lot of these other guys. I'm not trying to hide certain aspects of my personality. I don't have a YouTube personality. You have some guys that when they're in public, they're way more reserved, or they don't like to talk about themselves, or they do whatever they do. If you ever come to the store, you can ask Charlie, you can ask None Your Business, you can ask Gopher. This is how I am. I will stand and I'll shoot the shit with you and I'll make jokes and I'll crack you up as much as I can all the time. And I'll have a good time. But I can also be serious when I need to. But most of the time I'm just having a good time. So I just try to be as real as I can. I don't hide anything. Have I ever tried drugs? Yes. Have I ever been arrested? Many times. Yeah. I mean, my life's an open book. It did. They found it. Yeah, they better. That's a big thing, man. You lose a gun at a gun store, especially during COVID time, you could actually, and into the present, that's a great excuse to get your license pulled. Jason, met my fiance at a booby bar in front of Fort Campbell, but my in-laws, of course, don't know that. Well, you said in front. Oh, wait, no, you said at a booby bar. Well, I guess when you need to win an argument, you can always start a text, Jason. That's why we love you. Thank you, Charlie. Dave, in your short video, you mentioned you sold your Shadow to your friend Ryan because your Cajunized can't be replaced. You can't buy a new one and send it to Arizona to get it Cajunized again. I didn't go into what I meant by that, so I will real quick. What I meant was I can't replace it for what I paid for it. I paid $400 for it. SPO1, you can't, they're discontinuing them because they came out with the Shadow Compact. So I paid $400 for a Cajunized. All the parts are Cajun Gunworks. So it's got like $300 in parts, and then the work that the guy did making it happen, and then the fact that the gun is normally like $700. So I paid $400 for an $1,100 gun, basically. And I can always replace the Shadow 2 for $1,000 anytime. But I can't replace an SPO1 with Cajun parts for $400 anytime. What is my best joke? Some of the ones that I really like. Okay. I'm 44, so I grew up in the age of short jokes, like Take My Wife, Please. One of my favorite jokes would be, okay, this is a little bit longer. So a guy goes to a bar in Seattle. He goes to the Space Needle, the needle, whatever, the spinny thing. He goes up there, and there's a guy sitting at the bar having some drinks, and he sits down next to him. And he says, "Hey, man, my name's Daniel." And he goes, "Hey," and he's like, "You know, if you drink this drink, you can step out the window and you'll float to the ground." And the guy's sitting there going, "No, you're kidding me." So the guy takes the shot, walks over to the window, steps out the window, and you watch him just kind of float to the ground. He comes back in, takes the elevator up, comes back up. The guy's like, "That's amazing. How did you do that?" And he says, "Well, if you buy me another drink, I'll do it again." So he does. He buys him the drink, and he takes the shot, and he steps out the window and floats down to the ground. Comes back up one more time, and he sits down. The guy's like, "That's amazing." He's like, "You should try it." So the guy quickly downs his drink, steps out of the window, splat, dead as a doornail. Bartender looks at the guy and goes, "You know, you're a real asshole when you're drunk, Superman." Sorry. Back to Snatchy. When did they decide to discontinue the SPO1? They're discontinuing the compact for sure. The standard one, it doesn't show up on 3 of our distributors anymore, so that's why I think so. And if you go to CZ USA's website, they only have the P10, the Shadow, and one other gun showing. So I think they decided that earlier in the year because it's not optics cut. Yeah, because the Shadow compact is coming. Actually, I'll go there in just a second. Sorry, I'm running out of voice. I've been talking for nearly 4 hours. I don't know how these guys do it. How do they do it? Talk for hours. It's so crazy. So let's see what they have listed under their products. Obviously, I'm talking about handguns, not their new and updated for 2023. Let's see. So let's go to handguns. So handguns currently in their currently built lineup, you have the Bren 2, which is technically a pistol, the P10 in all its variants. Okay, so let's move on. The CZ Shadow, the black and blue. Let's see, they discontinued the single action version of it. The Shadow 2 Orange. Let's see, the AO1, which is 75. They're doing the PO7 still. They're doing the full-size SPO1 like I have. So they still have it listed as just, they have the O1 listed, but it's only at $650. So I think that's going to be on its way out. When they drop the price a lot, that means a gun is on its way out. The CZ PO9 is still there. Tactical Sport 2, that's kind of a cool one. But no, they still have the compacts, but the fact that they've dropped the price by over $150 from the other guns means I believe it's on its way out. They have the 75 compact and the PO1 both listed at 600, and the CZ75 compact are all listed for $650, which is less than what our distributors charge us. So those are definitely on their way out. The O1 Tactical's at 800, so I would assume that one's probably on its way out too. Yeah, I would not expect those to be around too much longer. Am I familiar with Gunbroker? Yeah, sorry, Lego guy. I knew it was funny. Do I think prices will on older Gen Glocks will increase with Gaston being gone now? No, they built too many of them. Even Gen 1 guns are not that expensive. Gen 2 guns here in the United States, which were the first ones we got, Gen 3s. Yeah, all of those, there's too many of them, unless it's a special edition. Let's see. Are you familiar with Gunbroker? Yes. We used it a lot at the store. It's actually a good metric. Here's how I'm going to put it to you guys. If you're going to go to a gun store and try to ask them for a certain amount of money for your firearm, go to Gunbroker. Sign up for an account. That way you can see what sold prices are. But also figure you're going to get, depending on where you go, pawn shops pay about half of their actual values. Gun shops will pay anywhere from 60 to 75% of it. Just as a heads up, you're never going to get what Gunbroker says a gun's going to sell for in a store. Because you have to also remember, Gunbroker, you have to pay a Gunbroker fee, a credit card fee, shipping, and then you have to pay a transfer fee when it gets to where it's going. I've seen those fees go ridiculous. A guy shipped in a gun and he paid like $350 in fees on top of the 35. So keep that in mind. But it's a good place to get guns you can't get other places. In Cali, we really don't have much availability other than roster. Yeah, that sucks. Although there's ways around roster as well. You buy that single shot 320, and then you just change your grip module because the serial's on the fire control group. Yes, I am looking it up because they're stupid ass. The Glock 40 long slide, Glock 24. I would say it's probably not going to really go up much. Cool looking gun though. Can we get an RIP for my wallet? Why are we RIPing my wallet? I don't buy on Gunbroker. Oh man, I can't believe I'm still conscious right now. Look at that eyeball. Brains, I can see my own brains. So yeah, as we're closing in on the 4-hour mark, I think I'm going to slowly exit out here. We're getting close to 11 o'clock, so an hour for me here before the new year. On Gunbroker, you got a brand new M&P 2.0 9mm. Normally it costs, where does it cost you $750? Where are you located that you're paying $750 for one? Yeah, because the cheapest 9mm, like if I had one where I am at my store, or any of my stores for that matter, you'd be talking about a little over $400 here in Virginia. And you're not paying Gunbroker fees, and you're not paying the transfer fee. If you had paid $350 on Gunbroker, you would have probably, if you paid shipping that and your tax 6%, but shipping, let's say they charge you $20 for that, and then $20 for your Gunbroker fee, then you're at $390 plus my $35 fee. You'd be much better off just buying it from me. But yeah, no, wherever you are, I'm sorry that they charge that much, but an M&P 9 is a little over $400. So yeah, I'm surprised they're selling for that much in Texas. Snatchy, thank you, dude. Lego, thank you, guy. It's fun talking to you. Hector, I'm sorry you're in an area where they charge so much, because that's redonkulous, man. $350 is $10 cheaper than what it costs me as a retailer to buy one brand new and ship it in. I can buy one for $350, and that is, yeah, everything. So, all right, guys, that's about it. If you guys want to come back, I'm going to be doing another one. What day is it? Sunday? So I'll do another one on Wednesday, unless you guys, and then we'll probably do Friday, and then we'll start skipping. I think Monday, Wednesday, Friday. We'll do 3 times a week, but not this Monday because today's Sunday, so you don't need one tomorrow. But yeah, come back for all of that. Thank you guys so much for the well wishes. I appreciate you guys coming and checking it out. And also, 4 hours. Holy crap. I am so wiped right now. I got to get used to doing that. But come back for more. Love you guys. Thank you so much. And as always, I'm going to push this button, and then it's going to say it's over, and it's going to make me wait longer. So, bye-bye.